everybody, and welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG. On today's show, obviously, we're going to be talking about Phil Spencer and what's happened with Xbox over the weekend. Considering it happened on Friday, we don't stream over the weekend. We don't do anything over the weekend as far as stream goes. So on to today's show, we're going to be talking about that. We have a couple of other stories that we're going to talk about as well that all has to do with Microsoft and whatnot. We have an Xbox report that exploring bringing more premium subscriptions to Game Pass Ultimate. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we'll watch a video from Destin Laguerre talking about console players aren't buying games anymore. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? Good morning. Good morning. Let me scroll back up. Let me see who's all here. Let me see who's participating in chat right now. That doesn't show everybody. What's going on, Eclipse? What's going on, Travis? Michelle, Little Beastie, what's going on? Good morning. Aku, all turn. Sarge, Jesse Mack, good morning. Roic, good morning. Drake Capone, what's going on? Water Bear, good morning. Who else is here? Who am I missing? I'm scrolling. I'm looking. Ward, what's going on? Good morning. Albina. Who else am I missing? Just enough. Good morning. How is everybody doing? All right. I'm going to try something a little different. I got bullet points that I'm going to go down. It's not a script, but it's like bullet points to get my my juices flowing because I wrote a lot of stuff down this weekend. We had a conversation in Discord this weekend about what's happening with Phil Spencer. So what I'm going to do is I want to dig a little deeper into like the leadership change that's happening right now at Microsoft, right? Because a lot of people look at it and go, oh, well, he's just retiring. And Destin Laguerre, we're going to be watching a video of his, but over a year ago, he asked Phil Spencer, I think it was in January, I think it was like late January last year, he asked him about retirement. And he went in and he kind of paused for a second and started talking about stuff. And maybe he's in that area where he wanted to think about retirement or whatnot. Who knows? Okay. But here we are a year later, and he's retired or pushed out, whichever one you want to think. Okay, so Phil Spencer stepping down, and Asha, I think how you say her name is Sharma. Is that how you say it? Asha Sharma stepped into the lead of Xbox today. This is her first day on the job. This is Phil's last day. This is his first day of retirement. Okay, and a lot of people immediately reacted. A lot of people emotionally, right? Part of the reaction is that it has to do with legacy, at least for me. The legacy, right? Phil Spencer didn't just lead Xbox, right? He worked for the company of Microsoft for 38 years. 38 years. Think about that, chat, just for a second. 38 years a man has worked for a company, and this is old school, right? Because a lot of people don't work for companies longer than 7, 8, maybe 10 years, and then they're gone. He worked for 38 years. He came up through the ranks, right? He lived through multiple console generations. Like, he literally started the company. He was at the company since the entire launch of Xbox. In some way, shape, or form, he was with the company, right? He was there for the highs. He was there for the lows. He was there for the Xbox One days where it was just an absolute disaster. He admits that, right? He came in and he rebuilt trust with the players, okay? He built relationships with studios. Like, no matter where you go, people talked about how Phil Spencer's just really nice guy. He really talked to people. Like, he's, regardless of what the gamers thought, the developers of the video games respected the man because they knew where he came from to what position he was in, right? So they just respected him. He earned the respect of the insiders inside the industry because he had exceptional history in the industry itself, right? So he's been with the company longer than Asha's even been born. She's 36 years old. More than she's been alive. Okay? So whether you agree or not, that you like what he did or you didn't like what he did, or you think he tanked the company, regardless, in the broader industry, he's beloved by a lot of people, right? And that kind of longevity matters because in his career, in business or in gaming, right? Just as being with a company that long, you earn the respect. Now, the industry runs in long cycles, right? long memories, long relationships. It takes a really long time for a generation, right? We're 5 years, going 6 years now into this console generation. So now, obviously, with the chip shortages, not the chip shortages, with the RAM upgrades going up and the prices going up, the next generation is going to be a little delayed, right? We're going to be in this generation a little longer than they want it to be, not what we want it to be, because we really don't give a shit. Okay. Now, so when someone like Asha comes in, right, and steps into the shoes of someone that's been with the company, that was an intern, worked their way up through each division, working their way up, and became in the Xbox division, then became head of Xbox, and then became the CEO. Okay. That's a completely different aspect when someone's 36 years old and they're just promoted into the same position with no experience. Now, I know a lot of people look at this as the experience and saying like, well, you don't need to be a burger guy to own a burger joint, or you don't need to be a gamer to... Stop with that shit. We're talking about just straight up experience. Okay? Her experience, and we'll go over what her resume is completely different than what Phil was. Me personally, I like hiring people within the company. Now, I don't care how many people want to argue with me, you can't tell me that there's not someone more qualified in a company like Microsoft across the board that's worked with AI higher up in the company. There's tens of thousands of people that work for Microsoft that nobody was more qualified than a 36-year-old person that's never worked in this industry before, right? I don't know. Just crazy. Usually you hire within, not without. Now, I get it. She is within because she's been with Microsoft for 2 years. But it just seems like there's nobody more qualified, which is fine, right? Again, it's not automatically negative that because she's only been in the business for, or she's been working for 15 years and she's worked for 8 companies and the longest she's ever worked for a company is 4 years, right? But there is a different mindset, right? Old school works long time, worked their way up the ladder. New school works and like shifts from one point to another, from one job to another. Okay. So modern tech leadership moving quickly often means more talent or maybe more in demand. And right now in demand is AI. AI is in demand. Satya Nadella wants somebody that knows AI. Again, this is just my speculation, my opinion. Okay. This is not saying this is what happened. Okay. But Satya, when he took over the same year as Phil took over in Xbox, he probably gave him a timeline. Was like, all right, this is what you want to do? Great. This is your deadline. Because you saw what they were doing with changing to Game Pass and going away from consoles. But soon as Satya was like, no, we're doing this, everything changed, right? You could see like the last 2 years, everything changed. Games were going to other platforms. It was only supposed to be the 4, okay? And the time limit came up and it was gone. So now Satya, I think, gave an ultimatum to Phil saying, look, we're going to let you step down because, look, I do respect you. You've been with the company for 38 years type of stuff, right? So this signals, at least to me, rapid advancement rather than long-term exceptional tenure coming in. They're bringing her in, and they want her to make something like real quick, okay? So here's where my hesitation comes in, right? Because leading at Xbox isn't just about product management, right? It's not just about business efficiency. It's about culture. It's about long-term trust with developers. It's about guiding hardware generations and last at least the generations, right? 5 to 7 years. I don't think she's going to be here longer than that, right? Phil's career is more about Microsoft, spanned nearly 4 decades. Asha is stepping into the chair without any same long-term history inside the company, let alone in the gaming side of the business, right? And a lot of people are giving her shit about, her gamer tag was just created like a month ago. Her score's like 10,000. People are looking into what the achievements she's got. People can smell something's off, right? But here's my question. Is that a pattern aligned with Xbox needs right now, right? Phil Spencer's old school, doing what they did. Satya wants to go a different direction. They bring in Asha, right? This isn't a startup, right? This isn't a short-term turnaround for Xbox. This is a multi-billion-dollar gaming ecosystem. It's the one of, if not the largest company on planet Earth, right? Trillions of dollars. That's just what it is, right? Console generations last 6 to 7 years, Major acquisitions take years to fully integrate. Activision's still not fully integrated into Microsoft yet, right? Studio trust takes time to build. So now if, let's say you're working at Playground Games and all of a sudden Asha comes in to talk to you and you start talking to her about video games and stuff like that, and she just kind of blank stare, doesn't understand what it takes to make a video game. She understands about business. She understands about what AI takes and all this stuff, but she doesn't understand what the developers are going through. Now, maybe you don't need to know. But I think as a person that works up and gets promoted, at least in my experience, someone can run a business not knowing anything and is not respected. Then other people work their way up and they are respected because they've been there, they've done that. Right? So these are things that, at least from my personal experience. So is this a long haul? Like, is she here for the long haul or is she only here for a short term? I don't know. So let's talk about her a little bit, right? At 36, she's one of the youngest executives to lead a division of the scale. That tells us that Satya Nadella, okay, and Microsoft leadership clearly believe in her capabilities, right? They have to, because you just don't hand the entire Xbox division to someone you don't trust, unless they have all different ideas. And then she could be a scapegoat, and we'll get to that in a little bit, okay? She may not be to sit in the chair for about 2 years, I think. 2 years, max 3, and she's gone. I don't even think she lasts that long, personally, right? I think 1 to 3 years, somewhere between there, she's here to be an integrate leader about the AI. Someone to bring and align the Xbox tighter with Microsoft's AI and cloud strategy into the fold, okay? And someone positioned for even bigger corporate roles down the line. If you look at her resume, she constantly gets promoted real fast. Okay, people have been with the company for 10, 12, 14 years. They don't move up one role. She's worked for a company for 2 years, gets promoted, goes to the next company, so on, so forth. So look, I'm not convinced, right, that she's here for a decade. I don't think so, right? I think this might be like a phase 2 leadership kind of thing. This is like a rebound off a relationship, if you guys ever been in those type of things, right? So she comes in, she optimizes, she integrates, maybe she aligns the AI department in and tries to get it all thing, right? Basically, this is a transition phase. This is, like I said, a fallback, right? It means that the board might be thinking in stages ahead. And this is also true in the bigger story. This isn't about her resume. It's about Microsoft sees Xbox becoming, because of long-term leadership signals. Like short-term leadership signals transition. And I think they're in a transition. So I think she's here just for a short term, implement this, and Satya, whoever replaces him in a couple years, because everyone's talking about 58 years old is ready for retirement age. Well, Satya's 58. Is he retiring soon? I don't know, maybe. So I got a couple of little examples here, right? Because it's hard not to look at what happened to Phil Spencer and think that something feels off, right, chat? Something feels off about this because of the way it was done. Someone that's been working for the company for 38 years, all of a sudden on Friday says he's retiring on Monday. The 25th anniversary of Xbox, with the man that's been with the company for so long, not to sit around and like give him the benefit of the doubt. Do you know what I mean? Like they had to know something was going on down the road. But again, no proof. He was forced out. No proof. Not yet anyway. Right? But the optics matter in this. And I think he is forced out. And obviously, Sarah Bond was forced out. So when someone who has been with Microsoft for decades and becomes the public face of Xbox leaves with only days' notice, that's very unusual, man. It's very unusual. Okay? And when the announcer successor, Sarah Bond, exits the same day, like we knew she was going to, when she got promoted, we're like, oh, she's taking over Phil's job. All of a sudden, she's gone too. Now, this would make sense. Okay, well, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense because you look at this. Let me bring this post up. All right, This was, a couple days ago? This is on Friday, I believe. Right, this is on Friday. She answered from a week ago from this person asked, hey, Xbox Research conducting a survey to learn how players could use the gaming settings. She responded to, we love to learn more about how you play. We can continue improving Xbox accessibility features. And then later that day, she gets canned. Let me bring chat up. Right? It looks a little weird. It's very, very weird, right? The same day. So that's not a smooth succession plan, right? That signals turbulence within the company. No matter which way you look at it, chat, right? I don't give a shit how many corporate BS letters that Phil Spencer said, I'm so happy to work here and thank everybody, right? Mind you, Phil Spencer's the only person to thank Sarah Bond, by the way. Satya didn't thank her. Matt Booty didn't thank her. I don't think she was liked in the company, but that's another speculation on my part. Okay, let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example of other CEOs that are now in the same kind of situation or happen to be in the same situation in the past, right? Let's talk about Bob Iger and what he did to Bob Chapek at Disney. When Bob Iger returned to Walt Disney World, okay, the company in 2022, he was sudden, the board replaced Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek was positioned there for him, and it was a transition phase that was happening during the COVID time. Okay, Bob Iger put Chapek out there and abused him, basically, came back and took over and looked like the hero. And now Bob is getting ousted himself. He was supposed to finish out the year 9 months from now, right? He's supposed to, end of the year, he was supposed to leave. But Bob Iger's out. They've already replaced him. Is that fine? Is that normal? No, that's not normal. That means they're ready to move on to the next transition. So Phil's situation, same stability narrative, right? Like he was here 38 years and then all of a sudden, see you later. Don't let the door kick you on the way out, right? Yeah, paycheck, Bob paycheck. All right. So it's a little weird, just a little weird, right? Then you have other people, right? OpenAI removing Sam Altman back in 2023. And then just days later, they brought him back. Okay. Also, the other guy from Uber forcing their head out, CEO out. Travis, what the fuck is his name? Caltech or something, Kalanick or whatever his name was. Okay. He was under board pressure. They got his ass out of there. Okay. Business corporations don't give a shit about your feelings or how long you've been there. When the people say it's time to go because their money is on a timetable here and they want to make more money. So then we talk about Matt Booty. Good old Matt Booty. It's amazing how Matt Booty wasn't next in line after Sarah. He's been with the company for a longer time. Maybe he just sucks at his job, and I'm not here to agree or disagree and say that he is the answer. I'm just saying it's a little weird that Matt Booty, who's been with Xbox for, I don't know, since 2007, 8, 9, something like that. All of a sudden, Sarah Bond, who was in front of him, he's right behind her. He doesn't get promoted to the thing because maybe he doesn't know AI. Maybe he doesn't care about AI. And Satya Nadella was like, well, if you don't know AI, guess what? Unless you want to be the speaking mouthpiece for her, you're going to help her. And then you'll be the spokesperson. And he's like, yes, sir. And that's what he's doing, right? So this suggests a deeper struggle with inside of Microsoft itself since they pushed Phil out 2 days, retired. Sarah Bond gone the same day. Matt Booty comes in, but he's underneath the new CEO and doesn't really know, right? Thank you, Jax, for the membership for 6 months. Appreciate you, man. All right. So let me give you a little round of applause. I appreciate you. Right. So like I said, this says a deeper structural issue with inside Microsoft because success plans in companies like Microsoft aren't, improvised over the weekend. They're not like, hey, you guys know what? We should fire Phil Spencer this weekend. They're like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. No, this is like planned. They plan stuff like this. They plan this quarters in advance, sometimes years in advance. This doesn't feel like it was planned quarters in advance or years in advance. This feels like a spontaneous, like, what do we do? Right? So this doesn't feel like a retirement. I don't care what anyone says. This does not feel like a retirement, a natural retirement, a natural pause for Phil Spencer. Okay. Now, does it feel like a reset? Does it feel like, let's pull the breaker real fast and try to figure it out? I don't think it's a scandal. I don't think it's a conspiracy either, right? But it's a weird pattern that just doesn't mathematically like work out in my head, right? This is not a typical, well, actually, I guess it is a typical corporate transition, right? This is how they do it. So at the end of the day, as I go back to the little bullet points here, at the end of the day, we don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. We'll never know. Even after the NDAs get lifted and stuff, we'll never know, right? Phil's legacy at Xbox is undeniable. What he did with Game Pass, cross-play, backwards compatibility, right? Decades of leadership, respected by his peers. Here's one thing that Asha will never get. She will never get the respect, right? In front of her face, they'll respect her because, well, she's the boss. But she will never get the respect that Phil Spencer got with people from the studio and people with inside the business. Because everybody that's been in a business, everybody working at a company, everybody putting their blood, sweat, and tears in every single day, no matter where you are, knows how hard it is to go up the ranks of a company. Thank you, Big Mo, for the 36 months. Appreciate you. Right? No matter what she does, like I was saying, everybody knows what it takes when you're moving up a company. And if someone jumps you, you kind of lose respect. You're like, well, why did they get the job? And there's lots of reasons. There's lots of different reasons. Phil was respected in the business, and I don't think she ever will be. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you guys think? Right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Phil knew he was retiring and he's like, you know what? We don't need to make a big deal of this and we'll put it out on Monday, right? Or do you think that he was pushed out fast? Obviously, I think we could pretty much say that Sarah was pushed out, right? Obviously, we could say that. She didn't even know she was getting fired. So obviously, when you get fired, you don't know you're getting fired. Sometimes you do, right? But she was pushed out. Now, maybe she was pushed out because she came in, took her job, and she didn't want to work underneath her. Maybe she was like loyal to Phil Spencer and was like, if Phil's out, then I'm out type of thing. I don't know. But this says a lot. And the transition that's happening, what's going to happen with Microsoft and what they're going to do with Xbox division, I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see what happens moving forward with AI within the company itself. If people start leaving, dropping like flies. Now, there will be people losing their jobs, obviously, because she's already coming in. Asha's coming in, bringing people that she's comfortable with, that she wants to work with, and so on and so forth, because that's what you do in a company. If I get a job, I'm going to bring in the people that I want because I want to make sure that it's like when the president comes in. No matter who the president is of the United States, they bring in the people that they trust and they get rid of everybody else because they don't want anybody trying to screw up what they're trying to do, right? Same type of thing. So, again, these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, Sasha? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section down below or in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what I do here. Check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see. Oh, I was going to bring up real fast. Her experience, right? Her experience in this business or in just working in general. I don't care that she's a woman. I don't care that she's Indian or whatever. I don't care about any of that. I look at what your resume is. Okay? And the reason I don't think that she's going to be here long is because of her resume. Her resume is business technology intern, 2009 to 2009. So great. Could have been 1 week. Could have been 12 months. Right? Then she worked for Porsche Group as the COO. So she went from intern from one company. Then there was a gap, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. Okay. She was unemployed longer than she actually held a job at a company, right? 4 years for Porsche Group, came back as the COO, 2013 to 2017. Okay. Then she went from that to Meta VP, product of engineering, from 2017 to 2022, or 2021. Then she went to as a board of trustee, and then she was a COO in 2021 to 2024 at Seattle Foundation. Now, she left there and became a board member at Instacart in 2024 to present day today. And then she worked for Microsoft as the CVP for 2024 to present. And then she's on the board of Home Depot board members, 2025 to present. Now, what that tells me is that she's never been and held a job long at all, right? I've worked longer jobs. Like usually when you get a job, you're there maybe a year, 6 months, 18 months, and then you're gone. You know what I mean? In a career, that's your regular job. When you go to the corporate world, you're there about 2 years, 3 years, then you move on, right? Try to do a bunch of stuff. Maybe she went to college. Usually you get your internship after college, right? I guess we can look at, she's 36. So going back to 2009, right? Usually you get your internship after you're done with college. It's usually how it works, Krebsy. Not for everybody, but usually. But she's floating from business to business from business, which when you look at someone like a Matt Booty, like a Sarah Bond, like a Phil Spencer, they've been with the company for years and years and years and years and years. It's usually what happens. So it just looks kind of odd. It just looks kind of suspicious, right? And again, not saying she's bad at her job or anything. Just when I'm looking at it, if I was a shareholder, I'd be like, I would have a vote of no confidence in her right now, considering I've invested in a video game business, and be like, what's going on? But obviously, Microsoft is not in the video game business. Microsoft is into making money, and Xbox is just a small division inside of Microsoft. All right, let me see what Krebsy says. I think Phil came back from holiday. Told Satya he's leaving because he can't fight with Satya anymore. Hoping Sarah would take over, and Satya gave Asha and Sarah a 1 month to prove who's her seat. No, I don't think that's happened at all. If that was the case, then she wouldn't have commented. She wouldn't have said something like she did, Sarah Bond. This was I don't like Sarah. Satya didn't even thank Sarah. I mean, they fell out. There was a fallout. There was no thank you for working and giving us the hour. Nothing. Sarge says, don't forget, bro, corporos float around 100%. This is why I called her in the Discord. I said that she's a chameleon, right? She'll do whatever you need her to do just to get the position, and it's a resume stacker. Mr. Z says, even worse, those are not even really jobs. Eclipse says, I respect the hustle. This is what she was doing, and she was also doing it with other people, get the experience until she got up. Sure, 100%. But at some point, Eclipse, you can fake it till you make it until you get to the wrong position, and then you're exposed. And again, I'm not saying that she's exposed. I'm just saying if you work for a studio, and you've been working in video game industry for 30 years, and all of a sudden this CEO comes in and starts talking to you about stuff, you're like, she doesn't know what she's doing. Right? Jay says it's hard work matters. Then the mule would also own the farm. You have to learn the politics and workplaces. Well, I understand what you're saying, Jay. But if a person works their way up, I'll give you a little example of in my tenure working different businesses and stuff like that. Before I was in the film industry and stuff, I worked at an amusement park for my very first job. My very first job was this place called Boomers. Okay. So small little arcade, arcade go-karts, bumper boats and stuff like that. I worked there when I was 13 years old over the summer, part-time, made $4.15. $4.15. Okay. Worked there for that summer, worked there for the winter break, worked there back again for the next summer. Thank you, Mr. Z, for the $2 fart. Appreciate you. Okay. Right. So I worked at this company, and then I worked year after year. And then when I became 16, so I worked 3 years, 3 summers, whatever, and I turned 16. 16, I get to work full time now. All right, so now I'm working full-time after school, working there, putting my time, worked the bumper boats, worked the go-karts, worked the miniature golf, worked the arcade, got all to know all the positions, knew ins and outs of every position that was at the actual place, worked my ass off, got to 18 years old, and they offered me a managing position, okay? So at 18 years old, I got a managing position. Why? Because I knew everything that was about the company, everything. Well, from 18 to 21, I was a manager. Then I became assistant general manager. Okay. Worked my way up. And when I asked somebody to do something, it doesn't matter what employee it was. If I asked, hey, there was a spill on the floor, I didn't just say, hey, can you pick that up? I grabbed the mop, did this, and other people came to help me, right? Because their job was to clean the floor. But if I'm cleaning the floor, I make them look bad. So then they come over and they respect me because I'm just doing the job that I'm supposed to be doing. I know everyone's job. I can replace anybody at any moment because I know the ins and outs of the actual business. A donkey doesn't know that, okay? I know the ins and outs of every single thing that was going on. And when I got to 21 years old, I reevaluated my life because I looked at it and said, where can I go from here? I worked for the company for 8 years, right? The only next position I could take in this company was the general manager's position. She's 42 at the time, I think it was. I was 21, double my age. And I went, is that where I'm going? Is that what I'm doing? Is that the best I can do? Nope, left. Left that job, quit, like Phil Spencer. Walked across the parking lot, went to the movie theater, got the job in the call to make reservations for the movie theater. People would call up, get their seats. That's all I did. I was there for 2 days. They made me a manager. Why? Because of my experience over here. Now, I surpassed a whole bunch of other people that have been working with the movie company. People didn't respect me at the movie theater. Why? Because I was a new guy. Even though my experience was all of this before, they don't give a shit, right? So now I'm coming in. Now I have to work up the ladder again to get the people to respect me. So all the people, because I never worked a concession stand at the movie theater. I never did the tickets at the movie theater. Okay? So you have to learn. So Asha coming in, people are going to look at her and go, she doesn't know shit. Who is this person, right? She doesn't get the respect because the people are like, they don't know who she is. So she's got to either work really hard if she cares, or she's just there to do that one job, which is Satya's wants her to do. Krebsy says, I say they had 1 month to prove who respected due to the Asha's Xbox account being a month old. Sarah responded to Xbox command of the day she resigned. If Asha was already picked, Sarah wouldn't respond. Obviously, I think you're half correct. I don't think there was an ultimatum of they're going to compete. I think Satya knew she was and said, all right, let's get her an account. Someone put some hours on there and stuff and do stuff. And they did that. I don't think there was ever a talk. Satya, I don't think, liked Sarah at all. That's what I get. Yeah, the stream is not getting what? The sound of the things? Travis says this is a hostile firing. Waterbear says, oh man, the old days of calling the movie theater, getting reservations. What's going on, Prosy? If you read the Matthew Bell report of the state of gaming, you will understand why they picked the new lady. All right, well, my morning show, I'll read that because I haven't read it yet. This is the first day. We read stuff online, on air. Krebsy says, as the Satya is getting the Game Pass crew out to replace someone who's also aligned with the software mindset, having no creativity. I mean, I don't think Satya likes the Nintendo. I was about to say Nintendo. I don't think Satya likes gaming at all. Truly, I don't. I don't. Sort of like when Bob Iger took over, the man was a entertainment, right? So when he came in, he made it more towards the streaming stuff, the more entertainment type of stuff like that, where other people were more about the parks, right? So when people come in, they change things. I don't think Satya likes Xbox at all. If it was up to him and he didn't have pushback from other people, I think he would just close the whole fucking thing. I'll be honest. I think he dealt with it or he's dealing with it, but I don't think he wants it. Chopper Eric says Sarah was way too much like Phil, and this wasn't going to work with Satya. Yeah, that's what I don't know. It just seems weird. Again, these are all speculations. There's no proof of anything I'm saying. It just feels off based on my experience with Corpro and different companies and businesses and when they force someone out. Krebsy says this is all started when the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Then Satya got involved with Xbox. Yeah. He's like, we're spending this much fucking money on this thing? Yeah. Jay says, last time I checked, you can't deposit respect in the bank. Some people just chase the money. Oh, for sure. For sure. But at the same time, if you don't get the respect of the people that you work under, then you're going to leave real fast. Jack says, I mean, Game Pass making $5 billion would Satya shut down? No. What I'm saying is he doesn't like the box. Jax. He doesn't like the gaming. Like, he's like, we're spending way too much money on these things. It takes way too long to do. Hence why they went more towards the subscription and put games everywhere. He doesn't want the hardware. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, they want to make the money, just like game companies. They want to make the games, but they don't make them digital. They don't want to make them physical anymore. Right, Jay. And she does her time. She gets the thing, does what she's supposed to do, and then she puts on her resume, and then she gets her next job, right? And, which is fine. I mean, hustle. People hustle. Do your thing that you have to do to hustle. Right? You have to admit, though, right? You have to assume that Phil Spencer had way more passion about working for Microsoft and Xbox because he was with the company for so long, compared to someone that just started and has never been a CEO, and now all of a sudden is a CEO of a company that the other guy worked for 38 years. All right, so let's talk about this. Is that report that you're talking about, where is that one? I think we had, hold on one second. I think I have, what report is it? Is it the report of, is that what Destin is talking about in his thing? I think so. Let me go to the submit stories here. There was something about, I saw something today. Is this it? Is this what you're talking about with Matthew Ball? There's underappreciated point in Matthew Ball's recent deck that anyone can looking in to understand the next 10 years of gaming needs to process. Kids don't care about AAA games. Is this the stuff you're talking about? I think Destin's video goes over this stuff. So let's talk about this, right? So Phil Spencer retiring, Sarah Bond out, Matt Booty promoted to Microsoft AI executive, Asha Sharma named new Xbox boss exclusive, right? So Spencer runs with Xbox, ends just months shy of the brand's 25th anniversary. This seems a little weird, right? This seems a little weird. Microsoft gaming CEO Phil Spencer, who has been in Microsoft since he joined the intern since 1988, with Xbox since the software giant launched in the first console in 2001, is retiring now, right? Sources familiar with the matter, who are not authorized to speak publicly, confirmed to IGN Spencer's retirement is effective on Monday, February 23rd. Meanwhile, Xbox President Sarah Bond, long thought by many to both be inside and outside of Microsoft to be Spencer's heir apparent, has resigned. I think they gave her the benefit and was like, you need to resign, or we could fire you. Good choice, right? The new CEO of Microsoft Gaming will be Asha Sharma, Currently president of Microsoft's core AI product, finally Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty is being promoted to chief content officer and will mostly work closely with Sharma. Remember, Matt Booty is the guy who kept Redfall in business. Just to let you know. Just putting that out there. Matt Booty was there when he was like, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Let's launch Redfall. I want to thank Phil and the extraordinary leadership and partnership of Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, said the email sent to Microsoft staff over 38 years at Microsoft, including 12 years leading gaming. Phil helped transform what we do and how we do it. Full emails from Nadell, Spencer, Sharma, and Booty are below, but not Sarah. Interesting. Okay. Spencer, in his email to Microsoft staff, said that in part last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of life, which is fine. Right? But it is just a little weird that you gave him a weekend. From that moment, we align approaching of transition with intention, assuring the stability of strengthening the foundation we've built. Xbox has always been more than a business. It's been a vibrant community of players, creators, and teams who care deeply about what we built and how we build it. And this deserves throughout the deliberated plan for a road ahead. Now, I have a question. This is just me reading into it because I like to read between the lines. If Phil, in this letter, said, me and Satya were talking about this way back when, that he wants to step back the next chapter. And Phil had, he respected Sarah Bond. You would think that he would kind of give her the heads up of, look, I'm retiring. And she would have been like, oh, okay, thinking maybe she's getting promoted. But if he didn't say anything to her, that's kind of weird. Right? Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the CEO. And I want to be the first to welcome her and the incredible team working with her over the past several months has given me a tremendous confidence. Okay. She brings in a genuine curiosity, clarity, and deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and also a decision that shaped the future. We know that this is an important moment for our fans, partners, and team. We're also committed to getting it right. I'll remain in an advisory role through the summer to support a smooth handoff. Okay. So he's been talking to her for months, and yet Sarah didn't see this coming. Sharma is a former VP of product engineering at Meta and former Instacart COO, who is also board of members of Home Depot. She also joined Microsoft in 2024. In her email to Microsoft staff, she wrote in part, my first job is simple. Understand what makes it work and protect it. The starts of these three commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters and stories that make us feel innovative gameplay and creative excellence. We'll empower our studios, invest in iconic franchises, and back bold new ideas. I mean, it just sounds like Phil Spencer, really, because this is what he said. We will take risks. We'll enter new categories and markets where we can also add real value grounded into what players care about most. I promoted Matt Booty in honor of his commitment. He understands the craft and the challenges of being great games, has led teams and delivered award-winning work, and has earned the trust of game developers across the industry. Now, obviously, if Phil's leaving, okay, Sarah left because she was pushed out, and Matt's the only one left, and he's the only one that gets the respect from the studios and stuff because he's been a trusted developer across the industry, right? He's earned the trust. This is what I was saying in my opening, right? He's earned the trust of the other people. If Matt Booty leaves, she has nobody to connect with the actual studios, right? I don't care what people say in a email that they're so excited. Nobody's going to respect her because she hasn't put in the time. This is just how reality works. Okay? This is not a battlefield. Okay? You know why people followed Washington back in the day? Because he led from the front. He didn't lead from the back. That's why he was respected. Most people that are beloved lead from the front, not from the back. Second, they return to Xbox and will recommit to the core Xbox fans and players who also had invested with us for the past 25 years. Well, let me tell you something. The corporation doesn't give two shits about you or me. They didn't give a shit about the guy who worked there for 38 years and gave him one weekend before he retired. They definitely don't give two shits about you for the past 25 years. And for those who built the Expanse universe and experience and embraced by players across the world, we're also celebrating the roots of renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with the console, which has shaped who we are. It connects to us and the players and the fans who invest in the Xbox and with developers who built ambitious experience for it. Gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of communities we serve. We will bring down the barriers so developers can build, once again, reach players everywhere without compromise. Third, future of play. We're witnessing the renovation of play. Okay, meet the moment, and we'll invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what's already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love, but will not treat those worlds as static IPs or milk and monetize. To milk and monetize. Sure. Just let you guys know, Game Pass is milking and monetizing. Just letting you know. Just putting it out there. We built a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI evolve and influence the future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood into ecosystems with soulless AI slop. Games are always will be art, crafted by humans, and created by the most innovative technology provided by us. This will come back to this later, like 2 years from now. Booty said in an email to Microsoft staff, looking forward to exciting to partner up with Asha as our next CEO. Our first conversation centered on her commitments to making great games and the role that plays in the overall success. She asks questions, pushed to clarity, and wants our choices grounded in player and development needs. That mindset matters to the industry around and changing quickly, how players engage, how many games are made, and how business models are platforms evolve. He says, quote, "We have good reasons to believe in what it's ahead. The organization and franchise have navigated change for decades, and where strength comes with teams who know how to adapt and keep delivering. The confidence in the ground is a strong pipeline of established franchises, new bets, and we believe in, and we clear player demand for what we are building." It's the same shit, just said in different ways. Right? Sarah Bond joined Xbox in 2017, followed a stint of exclusive at T-Mobile. This is after her parents worked in the telecom industry as Xbox corporate VP and partnership. She became a corporate VP of game creator experience and ecosystems after that, before being named president of Xbox 2022. Now, that's a little weird, huh? Right? She got her position because of people she knew. And she was exposed and didn't know what she was talking about, and hence why they got rid of her. Spencer was named head of Xbox in March of 2024, when it was also tasked to rightly a ship that also made a number of product choices and product policy decisions and rubbed core gamers the wrong way in the run-up to the launch of Xbox One. In the fall of 2013, long hailed by gamers as being one of their own, Spencer could frequently be found on Xbox Live, playing games regularly with fellow Xbox gamers and ranking up a healthy gamer score. Say what you want. At least if you had a conversation with Phil, and he played with a lot of people, jumped at people's games, right? Everyone's like, how come he's just not running the business? He played games, right? And this is why I don't understand. A lot of people are like, we want someone to run the company that knows games, but then when the person that was running the company played games, like he's playing too many games, right? His first major move to put charge was decoupling the Kinect 2.0 peripheral from Xbox One package, thus immediately reducing the new console price $100 to $399, matching the day one price of Sony's PlayStation 4. He spearheaded a much heralded backwards compatibility movement within Xbox, and Xbox Game Pass was born under his watch. The accessibility made major advances during the tenure in both hardware and software, and Xbox Play Anywhere, which sought to be the gamers' play of their Xbox games on any device, be the PC, console, handheld, and new, but it's also a big recent focal point. So there you go. I don't think I need to read any more of this, but so very interesting to see what happens with Microsoft. Look, again, some of the weird parts are coming out now about her gamer score. Some of the achievements she's gotten, like Minecraft, where she's only been playing. Her account was made a month ago, but yet the amount of time played in some of the games, and yet some of the achievements she's unlocked. So she has like high-end achievements, even though very few hours in the game. Is she just a speedrunner? Is she just amazing at video games? I don't know. It just looks a little weird. You know what I mean? It just seems a little weird. Ron says, what if PlayStation hires Phil Spencer and creates the PlayStation Pass? We joked about that on Discord, Ron. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they hire him as the CEO? And then I was like, then Microsoft would have an inside. I don't think that would happen, but it would be fucking hilarious. Waterbear says, well, guys, isn't Xbox known for their shadow drop nowadays? They don't fire Phil. They just shadow dropped him. That's good. That's good, Water. Eleni says, a gamer or non-gamer, your job is to make the shareholders happy. Sure. Shareholders know shit. They're just like, how's my money going to go up? Is she good? Great. Prove it. Sarge says you can't make shareholders happy unless you make gamers happy. Waterbear says they gave her those achievements. It does seem a little weird. Just Enough says she's using AI to play her account. It's just strange, man. Would you tag me? Jump to present. Hold on. Let's see. What we got here, Mo? What we got here? New reporting on Xbox leadership change. Xbox Anywhere has Sarah Bond's plan. Well, Xbox Anywhere was Sarah Bond's plan. This Xbox ad was her idea, offended many internally. Writing on the wall for Sarah and Phil to leave, and potential internal revealed Sarah Bond is gone. Via The Verge. Okay. Well, apparently they didn't like her. I mean, it looks kind of weird that she's the only person that didn't get thanked. Microsoft could give her a better fake account. Shows last minute. Starts as I called a gamer resume manipulation. They have to make her look good in the gamer's eyes, and they smell the lie of, yeah, but you can't compete with Phil. His gamer score is like my gamer score. It's like 124,000 or something like that. Like he's been gaming. Right? Hers is 10,000 in 1 month. Come on now. Next thing they're going to say is Elon is not a real gamer. Well, apparently her and Elon have something in common because someone's playing their games for him. What's going on, Roadkill? Yeah, internally they didn't like her. That's what I'm saying. But just saying it, this is an Xbox ad was her idea and offended many internally. Like, they just didn't like her. So, like, how do we get her out?
We are part of the PC master race. We buy the games. We play on everything. It's just so much better to be a PCMR than console club.
Aku, thank you very much for the $5. Appreciate that. I love the Trump voice with this. It just makes it better. So good. So good. It's so good. All right, let's see what else you guys got going on here. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the Phil Spencer thing. Let's go. Xbox new CEO responds to fans' dire. Oh, this is another thing. Tell me what you guys think here, right? I don't want to like nitpick on her, right? Because again, I don't know her, right? We're just outside looking in, right? She was asked what her top 3 favorite games were. Okay. Now her top 3 favorite games, the way she answered it was Halo. Okay. Halo was Valheim. And the last one, she said 007. Now, the TTS audio is low. All right. Well, let me fix that for a second. Let me. Where do I go for that? That would be. Yeah, which 007? That's exactly right. Give me a second here. Let me replay Aku's thing.
This is why we are part of the PC master race.
Oh, where?
We buy the games.
It's not coming out.
We play on everything.
It's coming out on my side. All right, hold on.
To be a PCMR than console club.
All right, let's see. See, I hear it on my side. It's not coming out for you guys. All right, give me a second. Let me play it again. Nothing, huh? All right. Hold. Let's see here.
This is why we are part of the PC master race. We buy the
Nope.
we play on everything.
Now, give me a second.
Just so much better to be a PCMR than console pleb.
Why is this not working again? I think it has to do with Windows. What I think is happening, I don't think it's actually part of the actual problem with the streaming software. I think it's Windows. Of course, it's Windows. I blame Asha.
This is why we are part of the PC master race. We buy the games. We
you guys
play
hear that now?
on everything. It's just so much better to be a PCMR than console pleb.
Okay. So that's working there. All right. Let me replay. Let me replay Mr. Z's.
Sound for Sergeant TTS.
There you go. All right, let me get that there. So that's there you go. There's the fart for Mr. Z sent earlier. My apologies for that. And then we had Super Chat, or give me 1 second. We had Jax. Let's replay that.
Jax 82V80 celebrates 6 months of membership. Matt Booty does suck and still gets promoted.
There's that. And then let's replay Big Mo's.
At Big Madmo 4379 celebrates 36 months of membership. Godspeed to Phil, and I respect Sarah for standing on business. For now I will see what she does. Phil is forever the GOAT.
There you go. So my apologies for that. Now we got it going, and now it's working correctly for you guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, my side is working, but I didn't see it wasn't working for you guys. So there you go. So, all right. So the 007 game. So she clarified that it was GoldenEye. Now, I understand that you can play games past the date of expiration, basically, right? So maybe she played GoldenEye last week and was like, this is a good game. But that's highly unlikely, right? She probably played GoldenEye when she was younger, and she was 6 when a game came out because she's 36, okay? So she was like 6 or 7 when it came out, right? Now, I'm not saying that you can't play GoldenEye when you were 6 years old. It just seemed like a weird thing. Because if you were 6, right? If you were 6, you would think that the first game that comes to your mind is GoldenEye, because that would be a game that, if that's one of your favorite top 3, but you say it third, it seems like you kind of just threw it out there. It's just weird to me. Right, 6 or 7. Yeah, 6, 7, yeah. Right, so it's just very strange. Now, again, Halo, Valheim, whatever. It's almost like I'm an Xbox, I have to say Halo. Of course, Halo. It just seems a little odd. And then the achievement list that people are diving into and looking at, like she's not playing those games. Elenia says, I'm back on Team Xbox after Phil's departure. Look, I hope that Xbox does nice things, good things for us, the consumer. Jesse Mack says, GoldenEye game, that's my game in my childhood. Yeah. Right? It just seems odd, right, chat? Like right now, you could think of games and you could tell like your favorite games, right? Like if you played Mario first, you'd be like, Mario is one of my favorite games. You wouldn't put Mario like an afterthought. Like, what's your favorite games? You'd be like, well, I tell you, Mass Effect 2. I like Red Dead Redemption 2, right? These are my top games. Oh, just so many to pick from. I don't know. Waterbird says she got it from ChatGPT. She prompted it to respond with those games that Xbox gamers would love to see make a comeback. Oh, maybe that's what she did. Maybe she played the remake of GoldenEye. Who knows? Look, I personally don't give a shit. I honestly don't. I don't care who runs the company or who doesn't run the company. All I'm saying is it looks kind of weird that a man that's been spending time 38 years at the company gets 3 days, gets a weekend, then says, why didn't he just retire on Friday? Because that'd be called a firing, not a retiring. There's a difference. There is a different leaders. The captain of the aircraft carrier doesn't fix nuclear reactors, cook food, perform medical procedures, fly planes. Some leaders have to lean and delegate their professionals. Sure. But my question for you, Jay, do you think, though, that the captain of the ship probably knows a little bit about every little thing that's happening on the thing? Because if he didn't, someone could just lie to him and say, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's done. I'd be like, oh, okay. Come on now. Krebsy says Copilot now runs Xbox. Mo could run Xbox better. Mo knows more about Xbox than I think anybody. Like, we're going to give Big Mad Mo, new CEO of Xbox. All right, let's watch this video here. Console players aren't buying games anymore. This is from Destin Laguirre. His link in the description down below. If you guys want to watch the uninterrupted video, you can go over to his channel. Check it out. If you want to watch it here, I'll give you my thoughts and opinions as we watch it for the very first time right here. All right, here we go.
If you've been following along online, there's this big annual report that comes out with analytics about console sales, industry layoffs, and just an overall snapshot of how the industry is doing. It's from Matthew Ball, and it's his annual State of Video Gaming report. It matters because it's one of the few industry-wide looks that cuts through revenue, headlines, and shows what's actually happening. It is referenced by investors. It's referenced by people in the industry planning events. It is widely covered and of interest to everyone. It is 164 pages long.
God damn. 164 pages. Please tell me you read them all, because I don't.
Read through it last night, and
I knew Dustin would read the whole thing. I knew he would.
Wanted to highlight a few of the pages that I found interesting right off the bat. First of all, let's talk about page 8, where they do cover off on some of the layoffs. We will do this.
With budget cuts and funding scant layoff continues. 2025 was 40% lighter than 2024, but the year still saw 9,200 losses and brought in 4-year total to nearly 44,000. But why do we have to keep a running tally? Remember what I said? Remember that they got rid of 44,000 across the entire industry. But in 2019, 2020, Microsoft hired 30,000 employees. 30,000 employees. Where do you think they're going to go? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like there was no article that was like, hey, Xbox or Microsoft hired 30,000 people. No, nobody said shit about nothing, but they tell you when the layoffs happen.
This picture for today, just because it is full screen report. With budgets cut and funding scans, layoffs continued. 2025 was 40% lighter than 2024.
I have a question, chat. If people don't do their job or they're not efficient, what are you supposed to do with them? What are you supposed to do with them? If a company makes a product and the product sucks and no one buys the product, what are you supposed to do with that company? Are you supposed to just leave them there? Are they supposed to be the guy from Office Space where they just keep pushing him to the back of the room and put him in the basement and he wants his red stapler? What are you supposed to do? You gotta remove them. You gotta remove them.
But the year still saw some 9,200 losses and brought the 4-year total to nearly 44,000. So if you can see his very clear chart here, we are still above layoffs in 2022, but we are thankfully below the devastating layoffs of...
Sometimes, Jesse, it's easier. It's easier to fire the company than it is to specifically pull out people and hire a new person to place that person, right? In their head, they're like, it's just easier to close the entire fucking company. And that's what they do. Where is the outrage? I mean, there are some people outraging about it, but not a lot of people. You know why? Because Xbox got rid of their CEO, and not many people talked about Bluepoint being got rid of. How many studios has Sony closed down in the last 5 years that they just picked up? Xbox does something and everybody talks about it. Sony does it. It's like a speed bump at 90 miles an hour. You just kind of just skim over it and keep going.
2024, which saw 15,650. There have been some in 2026, as we all know, but it does seem like that is...
I guess you could give him a promotion, Ray. Yeah, you could give him a promotion. Yeah, you guys suck at your job. Everyone gets a raise. Everyone's like, all right. All right. And then you suck again. Everyone gets a raise again. Let's do it around.
Somewhat softening compared to where it was even just a few years ago. Now, if you want to know why that might be happening or where these are coming from, it's probably because operating profits are somewhat down. He would go on to highlight that the erosion in margins is so great that total operating...
Just Enough says Point Blue was getting a ton of airtime until Xbox thing. Hold on a second. Was it getting a bunch of airtime from YouTubers? Or was it getting a bunch of airtime from reports from the media? There's a difference. One is traditional media, and the other one isn't. One's a blurb, and one is gamers talking about what the fuck, like, what's his name? Mug. We watched him. Mug Thief Mug. What I forget his channel's name. We watched him the other day. I saw his video talking about it.
Profits have declined since 2019, despite consumer spending surging 40%, equivalent to $56 billion a year.
The fact that the erosion of margins is also that the total operating profits have declined since 2019, despite consumer spending surging 40%, equivalent to $56 billion a year. Yeah. Adjusting operation income. 33 non-Chinese, non-platform video game publishers with accessible P&Ls.
So that's despite a 40% increase. They are still having an...
Remember, all the companies thought this was going to be forever. Right here. This spot right here, they thought was all going to be forever.
Issue with the margins, aka figuring out a way to make a game in a sustainable manner. This has been one of my key criticisms of executive leadership at these companies. They are spending so much money for minimal returns, and they are lacking a focus.
Hence why they're also doing minimal viable products for the process. Not only are they doing minimal viable product, but they're also spending a shit ton of money for minimal viable product. Hence why a lot of these companies are getting shut down, because not only, and again, the developers are doing minimal viable product because they're being told to do minimal viable product, right? They've been told to do that. Hence why they're doing it. So when a person comes in and tells them, okay, we need to cut costs, let's make a live service game. Let's make a live service game that's really grindy, and we'll put battle passes and season passes and all these other things in there. Just make the basic of it. Let's make a Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League type of thing, okay, where the end game is the same 13 bosses fought over and over and over and over and over again, and we'll be fine. It'll make a lot of money, right? Let's put $25 microtransactions in there. That is what they're doing to a lot of these games. That's why.
On the key components that make video games great. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
It's amazing how people that do this all the time, we can associate things exactly the same.
Jumps immediately to mind. A ton of focus on these gorgeous character renders. They spent all of this time on the facial animation and the cutscenes, and the gameplay just was bad. It was not.
The Flash was too fast, though, remember. The Flash was too fast.
Not a good gameplay loop, and people bailed on that game very, very quickly. Now, that's not to say that everything is all doom and gloom. There are a few positive indicators that the industry is going to figure out a few areas of growth, most notably Roblox. Roblox is the new platform. It's not Nintendo.
And because Roblox is the new platform, that is the new standard. So everybody has to be a Roblox. Fortnite is a Roblox. Minecraft is a Roblox. Battlefield is a Roblox. Mind's Eye was trying to be a Roblox. Everything is trying to be a Roblox.
No, it's not PlayStation. Heck, it's not Xbox. It's not any of them. It is literally Roblox as a platform. There are some key points I'm going to look at on this particular page. We will get to the graph that shows just how gargantuan Roblox is specifically. So Roblox is stealing share and growing its own garden. Brightness in PC is only just enough and might dim with all of the challenges PC is heading into this year. Net growth in consoles is growth in platform subscription.
Oh, imagine that. Huh. Platform subscriptions are going up and console sales are going down.
So you are seeing more people targeting subscriptions and services versus console sales. China is eating the video game industry. China is actually hiring. They are putting more effort into making more games. And I think the next few years, if you go back and look at my Black Myth Wukong video, I said China is going to eat your lunch. I think I made that video a year or two ago. Well, here we are.
That's because China's making a game and then selling a game.
And China is absolutely eating the industry's lunch, so to speak. Decline in home markets. The industry competition is growing, but appetites remain unchanged, and price increases are helping drive growth, but not all titles have pricing power. That is so important. Everybody is looking at Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto has to have $100. Has to be $100, because if they're $100, then we can charge $100. EA is just waiting. EA is like eating fried chicken, and they're like, they're waiting to lick their fingers because they want $100, because they go, a Madden can be $100, even though they're already charging $100 for Madden, because you get the deluxe edition, super edition, whatever the hell edition it is, right? They want the standard edition to be $100, but not every game should be $100, by the way. I don't think any game should be $100. But if there was supposed to be a game that was $100, you cannot have Grand Theft Auto as $100 and then bring in Tunic or Hades 3 as $100. They ain't going to work.
Auto and saying, man, I hope it's $100 because then we can price our game $100. Yeah, go ahead and try that.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Make your game $100 and see how many copies you sell.
That's going to go really great for you. Spoilers, that's going to cause massive problems for a game like, let's say, Outer Worlds 2. Let's say Outer Worlds 2 priced at a $100 price point.
Outer Worlds 2 would have sold a lot more if it was $50. Standard. That game is a $50 game all day. All day. Brand new, $50. Right? Not 60, not 70, definitely not 80.
We are already seeing people struggling to pay for their groceries, as was highlighted in my interview with Epic and talking about their storefront changes. And you're going to increase your game prices to $100. Look, if you're not Grand Theft Auto 6, I don't know what you're talking about. If Outer Worlds had to reduce its price from 80 to 70, what makes you
It's fucking amazing that we're talking about the exact same thing.
you think your AAA game is going to be worth that $100 price point? You need upsell tactics, and you need to figure out a way to get that audience interested, in my opinion. Now, Roblox, for some context, like how big is this platform? And yes,
No, but Aku, when your game first comes out, that's why I said brand new, day one, $50 would have been fantastic. Outer Worlds 2 is a $50 game all day. Right? That's what it is. For what they put in it, Avowed, same thing, $50. That's where that is. That's a $50 game. Right? 8-hour, 10-hour game for story or whatnot. Replay it. New game plus type of stuff. That's a $50 game. 60, fine. Old school, 60. 70, no. 80, definitely not. Obviously, after the 50, you can go down to 40 and 30 and get it on sale.
we know about the terrible things going on in Roblox, which they're probably going to get sued into oblivion about. They're challenging Netflix in terms of size. And as you have seen, we have Paramount in a bidding war with Warner Brothers to get as to whether or not Netflix is going to purchase Warner Brothers. Sorry, I kind of messed that up a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. So that is going on, and Roblox is over there just basically printing money. So competition is growing, but the gamer size, the number of gamers, is about the same, and that sort of leaves them in a troublesome spot. And
wait, what's about the same?
Money. So competition is growing, but the gamer size, the number of gamers, is about the same, and that's sort of...
Who said this? I can't imagine who's the guy that says this all the time.
Sort of leaves them
for years. And people argue with me, no, console sales are going up. No, it's the same 250 million people that are buying games. It's the same 250 million people that own Nintendo, that own a PlayStation, that own an Xbox, that own a PC.
I'm in a troublesome spot in terms of where are we going to find the growth? Where's the industry going to find the growth?
The cloud, subscription, television sets, mobile phones. That's where.
Well, it's not seemingly going to come from console players. On slide 22, he does highlight console. 119% of net spending growth since 2020 has gone to platform services.
Oh, God. I'm sorry, chat. If you're new to my channel and it comes across like I'm being fucking cocky and whatnot, it's just, I've been saying for the longest time, 6 to 7 years of what Xbox and where this industry is going and where subscription services and cloud are going. And it's just nice to see stats.
Total spending on game sales and transactions is down nearly 3.7 billion per year, or 11%. So if you're already seeing attrition in terms of game sales, what do you think is going to happen when you increase your prices to $100? I really hope the analysts are
not even $100. Just going from 60 to 70 has already diminished gamers buying the games all the time.
Paying attention to this, because you are going to be in for a rough wake-up call if you think that increasing the price to $100 is going.
And here's the thing, chat. Here's the thing. For us, the consumer, if there's only 1,000 companies making video games, let's just say it, there's 1,000 companies making video games every year, between independent, between AA, AAA, 1,000 games. If 990 companies closed and didn't make a game, and there was only 10 companies left making a game, guess what? We would be fine. We'd be fine because the average gamer plays 2 to 3 games a year. That's it. You would still have 7 games left over.
Going to solve your problems. You need to have leaner teams. You need to stop targeting things that don't sell games, and you need to focus on what the core is. I think we're going to see a lot of remakes and remasters of us.
Hey, Sarge, he said the thing. He did the thing. I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio. Right? He said the thing. Sarge has been saying that for years.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the God of War original trilogy, stuff they know will sell because it's what gamers want. They want that pure gameplay experience that we used to get more of versus a showcase of your technical prowess and abilities. Sony clearly stated in their internal documentation that they saw Spider-Man 2 as a bit of a challenge. Sure, there were these technical showcase pieces, the fast loading hard drive switching, all of that stuff is really, really cool. But the profit margin for Miles Morales was so much greater and it was so much easier to produce. I would bet money they are looking at that for their content model versus making another Spider-Man 2.
Is it me? Is the industry finally waking up? Did Destin finally wake up? How is it, chat? Please tell me, how is it? A person that knows, I don't have any interviews lined up. I don't have insider information. I don't have any of this stuff. None of this. I've been saying the same thing. People said I was crazy or stupid, doesn't know what he's talking about, I have no idea. And yet, now it's like I'm taking fucking crazy pills. Now everyone's saying it. And now, because now the people with credentials say it, now it's real. Now it's real.
On the PC market, we did see some growth here. PC, not only did it skip a post-pandemic decline, but annual PC content sales have also grown by a remarkable 30% or $9.4 billion since 2020, roughly 16 times as much dollar growth as console. 16 times the dollar growth as console. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts to see. I do think in 2026, unfortunately, that is going to come to a screeching halt because
Pone, the RAM is stopping people from buying new, not getting a PC, right? Not getting games. There's so many games right now. I don't know what was the chart. What's the actual chart say? Is it? Hold on. Let me back up. What the fuck is the chart? No, that's the wrong chart. Where the hell did the chart go? This is not the chart.
They saw spike, but the much a post-pandemic.
Right? Worldwide consumer spending on PC. That's not buying PCs. That's buying video game content on PCs. So yes, sales for PCs will drop. But video game spending is not going to stop. It's going to increase. Because there's more and more people that are like, you know what? I'm not paying $60. I'm not going to pay $50. I'm going to pay $40. I'm going to pay $30, right? Like right now, Space Marines 2, if you own Space Marines 2 on Steam, you could get Toxic Commando and get it for $10 less because you already own one of their other games, okay? People can pirate. People can pay cheaper. They can go through GOG. They can throw through Steam keys. They can go through a whole bunch of other stuff. Spending is going to go up on PC even more.
Pandemic decline, but annual PC content sales have also grown by a remarkable 30% or $9.4 billion since 2020, roughly 16 times.
Yeah, but Jay, I'm not a prophet, right? I'm not a prophet. What I do, we read articles every single day. You guys see what I do every single day. You can go back years ago and see what I've done. All I do is read between the lines. I don't read what's on the paper. I read the paper or the article and look at it and go, this is what it actually means. And I give you my thoughts on it. And my thoughts are usually my own. And they're out there because that's what it is. But people don't want to believe me. They think I'm crazy. Why? Because the number in the corner says I only have 2,000 followers. Do you know what I mean? That's why. I'm not credible because I'm the crazy guy on the side of the road that says the world's going to end with the sign and no one believes me. But I show my work. And I'm wrong a lot of the times. But a lot of the things I say magically come true.
As much dollar.
And then when the rest of the industry finally wakes up, I'm usually about 2-3 years ahead of the curve.
Growth as console. 16 times the dollar growth as console.
Calm down there, Todd. 16 times the detail.
And this is why we are PCMR. Just wait for the next consoles to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Wait for the plebs to still defend it.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Aku, for the $5. Appreciate you.
Console. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts to see. I do think in 2026, unfortunately, that is going to come to a screeching halt because of the component price challenges that we're going to see created by AI and the AI infrastructure. It's just the reality of the matter. I mean, it just is what it is. We're going to see massive problems in not only the PC space, but this will eventually impact the console space. Yes, PlayStation has stockpiled RAM and resources, as we learned on their most recent earnings call. How long will that give them runway? How long will Xbox's strategy allow them to keep selling their consoles at the current prices they have? When will Nintendo be finally forced to increase their prices? What is the plan there?
Again, though, Pone, it's not about people buying the PCs. It's not about people buying PCs. There's plenty of people that have a PC right now that can play the games. Plenty of games to play. More games right now on planet Earth than you ever need. The video game industry could stop making video games and you could still not play all the games that they've created. It's what it is.
They can't raise the price of their games, and hardware is getting prohibitively expensive. It's going to be a really troublesome spot.
Why do you need... Sarge has brought this up multiple times on GXG, and I know not everyone watches us on GXG. You should, okay? But Sarge has said multiple times, the Xbox 360 was around for 11 years. 11 years. No one complained about playing games on an 11-year-old system, right? PlayStation 2, people played for a decade. Nobody complained. They still played games over there. Software sales are still happening. You do not need a new system, especially today. You don't need a new system because they're not making games for the new systems. They're still making stuff for the old systems. Everyone's like, oh, no, they need to get rid of the old systems so they make stuff for the new systems. No, they're not going to make stuff for the new systems. And when they do, they're going to give you the minimal viable product because they're like, oh, well, we're still learning what it is and how to produce for it and stuff. They have to produce for the least common denominator. Well, the least common denominator now, my friends, is the cloud. That is it. The cloud is the lowest common denominator. Regardless of how powerful your computer is or what system you buy next, it all has to run on the smallest amount of technology, which is the cloud.
For anybody in the hardware business. And that's probably why you started to see an increase in services versus actual game sales at a lot of these companies. Page 36 outlines some price raises, how sustained, not new players are where it is coming from. Pricing. Lastly, many of the leaders that have grown or sustained revenue have done so by successfully raising price, not from growing players' purchases or playtime. So the player numbers are staying the same, but unfortunately, they are offsetting the new cost by raising the price of games. That only worked for so long before you run out of runway, so to speak, and a willing base of players who are going to do that.
Hence why Nintendo charges for peripherals. Hence why they charge for every single Joy-Con and cases for their mobile device. Hence why PlayStation has a PSVR 2 and how they have a Portal, because they have to keep dipping the bucket back into the same well because they can't get other people to buy the stuff.
I think, say what you will about Highguard.
Nobody wants to buy Xbox. Hence why they renting Xbox Game Pass.
We saw a company that was just expecting players would give them money. Well, wait, you're not just going to give us money? No, we don't think the game's good. And I think as consumers, as players, we have realized, you know what? Maybe I don't need to spend $100 on those 15 skins.
Yeah. Because if you want things to change, you have to stop buying the stuff.
I have all those Fortnite skins I spent money on, and the spell has been broken. And that has
the spell. That sounds familiar. Remember when I always say, when you see the wizard?
Have these investors quaking in their boots because maybe, just maybe, they're not going to get that return on investment. And that fear will make investment dollars soften and dry up, as we have heard reported multiple times. Page 54, this highlights player loss and how it matters more than ever. Let's go through it from bottom to the top. 1, if some players have stopped playing altogether, many are likely playing less. 2, player loss is the clearest.
We all have the exact same amount of time. And the people that have more time have less money. That's what it is. More time, less money, right? More time, less money. Less time, more money, right?
Signal.
Wait, no, that's wrong. If you have more time, right, it means you have less money. If you have more money, then you have less time because you're doing something in replace of that, right? Because if I'm working all the time and I come home and I just sit down and I want to play a game, I'm working. I got lots of money, but I got very little time. So I'm going to spend my money, right? If I'm a kid in school, right, and I don't have a job, I have all the time in the fucking world, but I have very little money to be spending on actual things.
But it's just the smoke behind a bigger fire. 2, the network effects of all games and gaming platforms are impaired, which in turn impairs the satisfaction and spending rates of all remaining players. If you are bleeding through your player base, why am I going to spend money on your game? If Highguard has 500 concurrents on Steam, I don't want to spend money in that store. I don't know if that store's...
I don't want to spend money in your first-person game anyway. Why would I buy a skin to show other people off? I don't get to see my skin. Now, third-person game, and I can see my skin. Maybe you get a microtransaction from me. But if you're making a first-person shooter and you're charging me $20 for a skin, you're an idiot because you don't get to see that skin ever. 97% of the time, you don't get to see it unless you're in a menu system.
Going to be around in a year. Meanwhile, you have something like No Man's Sky that has done all of their content updates for free, and people just buy that game at full price. So the industry is going to get a big old wake-up call in terms of the things that they have been doing to offset their production and internal costs, because it doesn't really work anymore now, does it? Number 3, it's even harder for new games to break through.
Of course it is. Why do I need a new game when I got 18,758 games I didn't play last year? And then this year, I'm sorry, that was 2024. And then in 2025, we have 19,250 games. Of course, 19,000 of those games are probably garbage. But there's still 800 games to play.
Again, new players and markets are always the greatest opportunity for new studios and games. And oftentimes, new games don't resonate.
But why do I need to go play a new... I say this every show. If I'm playing Arc Raiders and it's an extraction, and then a new extraction comes in and it's Marathon, if I'm having a great time playing Arc Raiders, why am I going to go over to Marathon? Why? If I'm already playing this game, I have a grand old time playing this game, I'm enjoying my time with this game, and I've bought the battle pass or whatever else is happening in there, okay? And I'm enjoying my time here. Why am I now going to reset, ask my friends to go buy another game that we may or may not know if we like it, even though we like the game that we're in now? Why? Why am I going to go play this battle royale that I've been playing for the longest time that I spent money on for skins and go play a brand new battle royale game that I may or may not like? Most people don't. Some people do because of the TikTok culture, of the short culture, where you have to have something new. You have to keep playing something new because I get bored. But the majority of players like, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
Thousands of games, I have to imagine, are made every single year. I think I got a press release for like 15 games yesterday that were released on Steam, for example, right? There's thousands of games that don't make it to market or don't resonate with people the way that they need to. Every once in a while, a Mega Bonk or a Mugenics breaks through, and that's really heartening, but it is harder to break through that noise. 4, individual games can only grow by stealing other games' players' playtime or spend. This is what is really scary for these big game companies. You have to take a player from another game to grow. And each or be eaten market means growing one title involves shrinking one or more others. Everybody's trying to get a piece of that pie, and there are only so many pieces to go around. So while Arc Raiders is having its heyday right now, maybe that means fewer Destiny and Call of Duty players because there is something better on the market. In some ways, that's good. It will mean more competition for your dollars. And
sure, more competition, but in their state, they're going to do the minimum viable product, and the other companies will do the minimum viable product. And which one does the more minimum viable product, or I'm sorry, less minimum viable product to give you more?
We are seeing that happen in real time. Number 5, if players don't spend more, all new investments, example, or e.g. hiring, raises, new games, etc., must be borne by existing players or otherwise reduce publisher profits. Of course, the more likely the latter outcome, the less likely publishers are to do the former. Yeah, they're going to be really listening to that player feedback and listening to what we like and we don't. And those dollars that are going to the things that nobody's gravitating towards, I think we're already seeing those dollars dry up in real time. Look at how many live service games PlayStation had to cancel.
Yep. Remember that? Remember when we talked about PlayStation getting 12 live service games, and I said even if they get 6, hopefully they don't sacrifice their single player experience for that? Here we are.
They put their bets in now. That's what we're going to see. If they crash and burn, they crash and burn. If they succeed, they succeed. But I don't think they're going to be making that bet again in the near future. Growth can only come from... My transition's broke. What's going on here? Come on. Catch up. Growth can only come from greater monetization of even fewer remaining players. Get ready to be squeezed. Squeezed like an orange.
But that's always been a thing. See, these people, and I'm not saying Destin, right? The people that are now waking up from this coma, okay? Like, the Wizards have always been there. You're just happening to see them now, right? You're seeing it now. They've always done this. This is what the industry has always done.
Orange for every cent that you have. I'm telling you, we got them, guys. Everybody, please don't buy any microtransactions. Don't buy any of this crap.
Don't tell me what to do, Destin. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't support it because that business model, we're watching it dry up.
That's right. If you guys didn't buy Madden last year, Madden wouldn't have signed the other 5-year deal for the NFL. NFL would have been in more places. NFL would have signed a deal with multiple companies, so you would have more football games. But no. You would addict people that need their Madden. They need their Madden. They don't care. They're like, nope, Madden's the best game ever because it's the only game. It's the only game. If you let Madden fail, you would have more football games. And if you had more football games, you would have better football games instead of the same shitty football game every single year with a roster update.
Up in real time, and you don't have to support it, and it will go away. And I hope to goodness something better comes along. This can come from prices being forced up, players buying more ads or serving other business models. Example, Amazon Prime, Google Cloud, etc. You're going to get more competitors on the market, and they will do something for your dollars that doesn't involve squeezing you like a lemon for every single last drop of cash that you still have in your wallet. And the thing is, as the Epic gentleman I interviewed told me, a lot of people don't have that kind of money. So what do you need to do? Just don't buy the microtransaction. Don't buy the games that you don't like, and they won't be invested in anymore. Vote with your wallet. I've said it for years, and I feel like we're actually seeing it finally happen. People are actually voting with their wallet. Everybody just seems like they woke up in 2026 and said,
including you.
Yeah, you know what? We know what you're doing. We don't like it. Love to see it. Page 67, TikTok alone ate up 39 million hours a day. So I know there was...
I'm sorry, what was that last part there?
Actually voting with their wallet. Everybody just seems like they woke up in 2026 and said, yeah, you know what? We know what you're doing. We don't like it. Love to see it. Page 67, TikTok alone ate up 39 million hours a day.
Yeah, but exactly. Time is the most important thing in your life. If you're young, you don't know that. You do now. I'm the wizard. Not the real life fake wizard, just the wizard. Okay? I'm behind the curtain. I'm telling you right now. Time is the most valuable thing that you have in your life. Not money. Time.
So I know there was that whole TikTok meme. This proves just how big of an impact scrolling on your phone on TikTok has on your gaming time. I'm guilty of it. I'm mostly a YouTube guy, but I know y'all out there are watching TikTok, and you are choosing to consume fewer long form YouTube videos. You're choosing to consume less game time. It does have an impact, as much as everybody wanted to meme on the TikTok Microsoft thing. It's just the US consumption of TikTok. In just the US, it's up 39 million hours a day compared to the second half of 2020 and first half, of 2021, i.e. after COVID normalization.
He's got indigestion like I do when I talk about numbers.
So like, look at these graphs. That's crazy. Average daily hours of TikTok watched in the US, 102 million hours a day.
Mr. Z says, not anymore. Good blood pressure and sleep are now important for me. Why are they more important for you? To get what? I rest my case.
Hey, total? That's nuts. And that's up 39 million hours a day from previous reports. And then over on page 83, I just want to dive into that real quick. And we got some tweets from Matthew Ball to go over. If you want to see enhanced statistics, like where are all of these coming from? Let me see if I can turn my camera off.
How frequent do you engage in the following answer multiple times a week or daily? Play video games on mobile device. All U.S. adults, 45%. Men 18 to 34, 1.4 times. Women 18 to 34, 1.2 times. All 35 to 54, 1.1 times. And all 55 plus, 0.7 times. Play video games on PC or console, 32%. 18 to 34% of men, it's 2 times. 18 to 34 women, 1.2 times. 35 to 54, 0.9, and all 55 plus 0.6. Those numbers will go up and up for the higher bracket.
For a sec, so you can just see the full chart. Audio's still coming through. You have adults playing video games on a mobile device. That's 45%. And then you have a breakdown by age demo. So 35 to 54.
62% watching short form videos. 62%. I hate shorts. Hate them.
18 to 34 women, and where they are playing. Obviously, you can see watching short form videos, all US adults, 62%. Everybody's watching this stuff. So
no, not everybody. 62% are. 38% are not.
Just sort of an interesting slide where I wanted to highlight just how much people are utilizing these services to do things that aren't gaming. And here's the real scary thing for the industry. Gamers play less. New competition for time and spend, and which concentrates on key gamer demographics, helps to explain several ongoing and interrelated challenges to revenue growth. This is one of the most fascinating.
So they're pulling sources from Valve, Newzoo, Circana, Video Game Insights, Senior Tower, and Epsilon Analytics.
Slides in the whole thing. Gamer playing fewer games overall. It's the one up here. We'll get to the one behind me next. The median Steam user plays only 4 games a year across the entire catalog of new and old games.
That's been like that for a decade.
Down from 5 in 2022. They scratched a whole game off of their yearly play time. A whole game was just erased. Concentrating time.
Well, let's think about that, right? If I have 5 games, I'm paying $70 for each one, right? When they were 60, it was cheaper. So now, because it's more expensive, they have to take one off, and they're still paying. Now they're paying 70.
Time on these same games. They're staying in Grand Theft Auto 5, Destiny, whatever they're playing. Since January 2021, the same games, each 9 to 27 years old, have held 33 to 56% of total PlayStation and Xbox hours every month. The same
9 to 27 years old have held 33 to 56% of total PlayStation and Xbox hours every month. Since January 2021, the same 5 titles, each 9 to 26-year-old have held 28 to 40%.
Same games. Since January 2021, the same 5 titles, each 9 to 26 years old, have held 28 to 40% of total PC playtime. That's crazy. That means people are finding games they love, and that's just the game they play.
Yeah, so you can come out with 19,000 games. You can come out with all the games you want. Average person gets 3 to 4 games a year, and that's what they play. You're competing with that and their time for that one game.
Play every night. They play their Call of Duty, they play their FIFA, they play their Grand Theft Auto, and that is where they live. And you know what? They don't even want to buy or try new stuff. Only 3.1 to 7.4% of global PC, PlayStation, and Xbox time goes to new non-annual releases, and 5 games get half that time. 46% of US gamers buy fewer than 1 game a year.
That's because they're playing free-to-play games most of the time for that percentage.
46% of US gamers buy fewer than 1 game a year. They are competing hard for your dollars. 86% buy between none and 4.
86% buy none. They don't buy games because they play free to play. They're playing Marvel Rivals. They're playing Fortnite. They're playing games that don't cost them money.
It's just crazy. These figures are just crazy. The average Steam user installs 3.8 games per year, down from 4.2 to 5.2 pre-pandemic. Annual mobile game installs are now at a 12-year low in the US. Mobile is also having these
Mobile's competing more for the TikTok type of stuff, because if you were playing video games on your phone, but now you're swiping through TikTok or watching shorts, that's a direct connect because you're playing on your phone. That number will increase even more because more games are being played everywhere. And if they're being played everywhere, they're being played on a mobile phone. And if you're not playing on a mobile phone, then you see what I'm saying? So more people will still be scrolling through TikTok and shorts and whatever else because they're being that it's super easy to just put your finger on the home button, close that app, open up another app, and do something. That's it. Super convenient.
Major.
If you're playing on a PC or you're playing on a console, yeah, you can look down, but that screen's still open. It's still counting as you're playing, or the hours counted towards that. It doesn't know what you're doing on the side. But the mobile phone, they know exactly, because if you close that app and open up the next one,
struggles. Concentrating time on free-to-play. Since January 2021, free-to-play games average 45% of all PlayStation and Xbox time. Since January 2021, free-to-play games average 55% of all PC gaming time. You got Path of Exiles free. You have games like
Apex.
Destiny 2 that are free. I say Destiny 2 because I've played a
Fortnite.
lot. There are all these games that you can literally play.
And I wonder if the statistic for games when they buy zero, when it said 0 to 4, if the average gamer they're charging is the $60 or whatever, because there are games out there for like $2, $3, $5, $10.
For nothing. Delta Force
So I wonder if the full game is a full price game.
has been popping off. They cost nothing to play, and you are going to release something like Concord at that $40 price point. I don't know, y'all. That's a risk I would not take. That's specifically why Highguard is free. Now, earlier I mentioned that Roblox is big, right? Here's Matthew Ball. How big was Roblox in 25? Well, it's catching up to Netflix for hours of use. About matches, the combined playtime of the next largest gaming ecosystems, not game, the other gaming ecosystems, and its top titles are as played as top non-Roblox games and even publishers, though they get a fraction of the revenue. So like,
Jesus, look at the difference. Jesus Christ.
look at this. Roblox, Steam.
Look at the difference between Roblox and Steam. What was that game? It was a game mode in Roblox. It's like farm something that gets like 100 million active users every month. Like go farming or something like that inside of Roblox.
Steam is next in terms of monthly hours of engagement.
We talked about that like 6 months ago, whatever it was.
Then PlayStation, then it's all of whatever's going.
Look at this chart for a second. Second place is Steam, right? Second place is Steam. And they're way below what Roblox is. Then you go all the way to the far end of the cycle here. It's Epic Store. No wonder the Epic Store wants Steam to fucking get sued and whatnot. Because they're nowhere near. They're nowhere near the competition. And Fortnite's gigantic. And yet, look at Fortnite compared to Roblox. That's insane.
On here, this is video game live streaming, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, the rest of the market. It's literally the fourth biggest thing. Here's where Roblox is stacking up against Netflix.
Oh
it's
my
getting
God.
there slowly but surely. And what's more, Roblox is
They're talking about all the games, Aaron. They're not talking about just console. They're talking about mobile. They're talking about console. They're talking about PC.
top titles now match top non-Roblox games. Grow a Garden is
Wait a minute. Are all the red Roblox titles months in market if launched mid-year? Yeah, so that's that Grow a Garden thing. So all the red are game modes inside of Roblox, and that's where people are playing.
beating Blizzard. All Blizzard titles are being beaten by Grow a Garden.
I'm sorry, did it say all? All Blizzard titles. Fucking Overwatch is losing to Grow a Garden. World of Warcraft is losing to Grow a Garden. Diablo is losing to Grow a Garden. Grow a Garden was made by a 15-year-old, by the way. A 15-year-old made that inside of Roblox.
Blizzard titles are being beaten by Grow a Garden. That's wild. That's absolutely wild to read. Now, overall, this is just a super interesting report. The fact that PC is such a big market, it explains why I've had this Tom Warren tweet open for a while. Selling PlayStation games on PC is a pretty good business for Sony. Surprise, surprise.
Is that Farmville like? I'm not really too sure. I think it's sort of like inside of Fortnite, there's like a side that someone made, like a separate, where you just like tend a garden. Like if you were playing Minecraft or you're playing like Hytale, like making a garden, just tending a garden, right? It's like so many other foreign games. That's it. It's just tending a garden. That's it. Inside a thing. So why go play Farm Sim if I could play Farm Sim inside Roblox? Why go play Call of Duty maps when I could just play Call of Duty modded inside of Roblox? You see, this is why Mind's Eye and the creator of Mind's Eye wanted to push everywhere. Not say everywhere. That's what the thing was called. It was called Everywhere. This is why they're trying to do everywhere. They try to use Mind's Eye to get everywhere into everyone's home so they could use that as a platform. Battlefield 6 is using Portal and Battlefield, or the Battle Royale, to try to be a platform. They're trying to become a platform. Why? Because the platforms is what's making the money, which is taking the time. Now, instead of competing against everybody, you're competing against roadblocks, basically, right? You have to beat into the roadblocks ecosystem before you can even compete with everybody else.
They made $2.37 billion from selling first-party games and content on PC and Xbox. I'm telling you, the console wars, they're just done. They're done. Xbox is just PC now. They see that that is a better play for them. PlayStation's still doing their thing, and a lot of those games will come to PC.
Yeah, Nintendo and PlayStation are in for a rude awakening. They are. They have, and PlayStation's already made the pivot. Nintendo, not so much. Even though they've gone digital with digital games and stuff now, they are making a pivot. But they're going to be in for a rude awakening because their major sales are the peripherals and software sales for those peripherals. Well, when people stop buying the Nintendo or stop buying the PlayStation, they're going to have their lunch eaten because there's going to be so many people playing other games on other consoles or other devices. If it's your phone, if it's the next handheld, whatever comes out, if it's on your PC, whatever it is, and you're not going to need that anymore. So they're going to lose a chunk of money off of all the console sales that they're not selling. But we'll see what happens. I'm just a crazy guy on the internet.
Because they're making billions off of that strategy. Super interesting report for Matthew Ball. You can just sign up and you can read the whole thing. It is long. Tons of interesting data about where the console market is, where people are spending their time, where the PC market is, and it's just a fascinating report. I love this data stuff, and I hope you enjoyed this just brief look at the content that I found interesting within it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much to the members. Chris,
there you
Freddie,
go down below. His link's in the description down below. Go check out his channel. Hit the subscribe button. Go follow him. Go watch his other videos. I like Destin. He does a lot of good stuff. I give him shit a little bit because he has been woken up a little bit. I would say the last 4 years he's kind of woken up about stuff, but a lot of the stuff he kind of defends a little bit, and it's fine. We don't have to agree on everything, which is fine, right? I think what he does, I think he does good content on YouTube. I said it last year when he left IGN. I said it's the best movie he's ever done. I think leaving IGN is the best thing he ever did. All right, it's amazing how the people finally woken up, and look, I'm glad there's other content creators finally saying what I've been saying for years and years. I'm glad that they have a reach for other people, okay? I'm glad there's a reach with other people now can see what they're saying. I just think it's hilarious, just from me personally, that I've been saying it for so long. And when I was on other podcasts and would say things, people thought I was crazy and they didn't know what I was talking about. These are just facts. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's crazy. Well, kiss my ass, because here we are. Here we are. We're in exactly the same spot I said we were going to be in. Hence why I always push back. Hence why I talk about what I talk about. Hence why I tell people not to pre-order or buy day one. Do not buy week one. Do not buy microtransactions, because here we are. We're in this situation. We are here because we did this. We did this. The industry reacts to what we want. And because people wanted broke, buggy, unfinished games, they gave you broke, buggy, unfinished games. Because you wanted microtransactions, they gave you more microtransactions. Because you didn't want to buy games, they gave you free-to-play games. These are all the reasons that we are in the situation that we're in right now. So,
and Cherubi G.
All right. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, This will be good. We got another thing here. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks, Mo. Rumor, reportedly, Xbox reportedly exploring to bring more premium subscriptions to Game Pass Ultimate. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So, if the rumor that Microsoft may add new subscriptions to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is true, grabbing an expensive tier may be worth it for a lot of you. Microsoft may be adding a new subscription to Xbox Game Pass like World of Warcraft, Fallout First, Minecraft Realms, and more, according to a new rumor. While these should also be taken with a pinch of salt at this stage, it could make the Ultimate tier feel a little bit more worth outside of the awesome Xbox Game Pass lineup. Recently, Tom Warren at The Verge spoke about all things Xbox and working throughout the 2026, which confirmed that Fallout 3 Remaster was still happening. However, Warren also vaguely discussed how Microsoft was in early stages of exploring ways to expand Game Pass subscription lineup, but didn't elaborate beyond that. Thankfully, a new video posted on YouTube, Jez Corden, has gone into more detail about what these potential new Game Pass subscriptions could be. Okay. Corden states, I think there is also was a report recently, I think it was Tom Warren in the newsletter on The Verge, who said something along the lines of Microsoft is trying to look at ways to even be more value to Game Pass. I think they're making it more. There are also reasons to subscribe at $30 is probably like them a race against each time right now, like they are. We need to make this work and, make people feel like it's worthwhile. Quote, one thing I did hear, right? And I don't know if this would actually ever happen, but one thing I did hear is that we're exploring putting World of Warcraft subscription and some other subscriptions that they got with like Fallout First, Minecraft Realms, and they also exploring putting that into Game Pass Ultimate. Now, if they put World of Warcraft and Minecraft Realms first subscription at the Elder Scrolls subscription, it would put all of them into Game Pass Ultimate. Then, oh boy, does this become worth even more to me at $30. Huh. Who said this? Who said this? Considering a recent Xbox game price hike, I've agreed that Corden gets all these subscription added to Ultimate tier would certainly help elevate a new cost, especially if they play out into the aforementioned games. Ultimate has become more worthwhile than it feels right now for some of us. Obviously, we get access to some incredible day one games like Outer Worlds 2, Clair Obscur 33, South of Midnight, so many others more, but $30 a month, these extra additions would actually really sweeten the deal for many of us, make the jump into premium and Ultimate much more enticing. Personally, I'm a huge lover of ESO. Just like staff writer Tom, getting the subscription included through Game Pass Ultimate would be a huge deal. In fact, it also make it getting Ultimate subscription completely worth it. If I'm already forking out the cash of ESO subscription and premium, I may as well rip the benefits of Ultimate tier and get all that combined. Yeah, man. Can I get a link to this article? Sure, it should be in the description down below if it's not already. Let me see. Let's see. This one is True Achievement. Yeah, it's not there. Let me put it in there for you. There you go. The WoW stuff is interesting. Yeah. I made a video 2 years ago. It might actually be longer than that. Actually, might be longer than that. Let me see. Content, videos. I made a video of World of Warcraft coming to Game Pass and what I said it was going to happen. And I said it would come to Game Pass Ultimate first on PC. But I also said it would come to console. Let's see. That was... trying to find it. That's Wayfinder. That's Marvel Rivals. We still got to go way more. I just want to look at what the date is that I made it. It actually does pretty good. It gets a lot of, for at least my size channel, it still gets a lot of clicks. Yeah, it's past Suicide Squad, so it's been at least 2 years. Here it is. World of Warcraft. I created this. Let's see. This is from November 7th, 2023. So 2.5 years. 2.5 years I made a video. So good. Maybe it'll come out and it'll become relevant again. WoW coming to console has been a running gag for like 5 years. Yeah, but the reason I made a video of it is because they were working on a controller build, and people were like, "Well, they're never going to have a controller," and then they've been having a controller for the last like 2.5, 3 years now. And the reason they're doing that is because they're going to be working on it to bring it to console. So my video that I talk about, not just saying that World of Warcraft is coming, I give you reasons why I think it's coming. And since Activision got bought out by Xbox, they would 100%, right? Would 100% put it on Game Pass down the road. I even said to make Game Pass even more vibrant, they would take the Battle.net and just convert it into Game Pass to make the Game Pass number, more beneficial for them, so they can just say the number's bigger. You try the Windrose game? I have not yet, Eclipse. Crosswind has also changed the name. I didn't know. Or maybe I did. I forgot. That's the name I remember. I didn't remember Windrose. I remember that's the one I remember. Yeah, Crosswinds. Aaron says 30 would never sail the seas. That's not true. I used to sail the seas all the time, and I'm not talking about actual boating. I used to download music all the time, but this is before I got into the film industry. I've talked about this. I don't like pirated movies or anything like that, because I know the people that make the movies, it goes to, it's taking money out of their pockets and stuff like that, because less movies would get made then. But 100%, I would sail the seas if corporations got fucking greedy and started charging for stuff that they shouldn't need to charge for. 100% I would. Yeah, Crosswinds is Windrose. And Finkel is Einhorn, and Einhorn is Finkel. Mo says, the reason you stick your disc into the slot, you must download the whole game. It would tell you that you don't own anything. Aku says there's a deep WoW rumor that the console version will drop after they finish the current expansion trilogy, and the updates with the trilogy have been simplified powers and rotations. Yeah, 100%. Don't do that, 30. Don't do what? Sail the high seas? Well, if we don't own anything, then pirating is not stealing. Just saying. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. We've got, when did this come out? February. Today's 22nd, right? Today's the 23rd. Yesterday, looks like Sony has announced a major leadership transition set for April 1st. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these guys' names because I'll butcher them. Will become the new president and CEO of Sony Corporation. Current president and CEO will move into a role of director and chairman. Now, you see how that works? You see the difference between what Sony's doing? Now, again, it's not PlayStation. It's Sony, though. Sony has announced a major leadership transition set for April 1st. Not 2 days from now, right? Not 2 days from now, right? April 1st. They're giving a whole month and a week, 5 weeks to tell you, hey, by the way, we have a new president CEO coming in, and the other guy will step back in a whirl. So this marks a significant structural shift, signals Sony's next phase of strategy in electronics, imagine, and entertainment. Leadership changes at Sony often align with new innovation cycles, so expect fresh direction in areas like Brivia, TVs, PlayStation, and imagine. Watch out. He might come in and be like, you know what? I want to do what Microsoft is doing. Let's do that. Oh, man. Wouldn't that be funny? Uh-oh. Watch out. What time is it? 12 o'clock? That would be very, very interesting. Look, a 2-month transition process. That's what I'm saying, Pone, right? That's normal. That is a normal thing you do when someone's leaving and they've been with the company for so long. You're like, hey, you know what? Let's transition. Let's make an announcement, right? Let's the stock market dip and stuff because they know the new people, but it won't dip as much because they know about the new person coming in. Not overnight on a Friday through the weekend to Monday type of thing. Anybody that comes out and says, oh, no, they knew what they were doing. A CEO doesn't just go bye-bye over the weekend. If they gave an ultimatum. In my opinion, they gave Phil, they're like, look, we could fire you, or you can bow out and say that we're gonna replace you and you're retiring. You're gonna retire, right, Phil? And he's like, all right, I guess I'll just play more games then. The only way Phil would speak is if Satya Nadella takes away his gamer card, like his score. Like he takes Phil's. He's like, sorry, it's a company. You're gonna have to pay $30 now. And Phil's like, I'm not doing it. Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, Phil's just playing games now. That's what he's doing. He's playing games. That's what he's doing. His retirement is super, super convenient for him. He's like, oh, good. I get to finish out the other games I haven't played. I don't think he's retired, though. I think he's going to do something. He's going to take some time off, though. Give him like 3 months, 6 months. Then he'll come back. Altern says, oh, wow, I can retire with millions of dollars to buy more games. Where do I sign? Phil Spencer. No, he doesn't buy his games. He's just going to play Game Pass. Ray says, I've never believed Phil Spencer is a gamer. Well, that's not true. He was a gamer. Yeah, we said that, Titan. We were talking about that yesterday in our Discord. No, it's him. Like, he actually plays. He plays all the time. Now he just gets to play all the time, and he doesn't get paid for it now. Like, people were upset that he played too many games. Like, I can't imagine that. That's like a chef tasting his food too much. Like, that guy tastes his food too much. Like, he's playing the game. He's like, it feels good. Let me give you some notes here. Let's see what else is going on. Going through Twitter right now. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do a morning show. We do evening show over on our other channel, 30 and Still Gaming. We play some games, just chill out, hang out. We've been playing Space Marines 2 on the stream. We've been playing Hightail Mondays and Tuesdays with El Dente and Aku from the stream. So we watch that. Sometimes we do a podcast called Chatting with 30. We haven't done one in quite some time. It's been about 6 months since we did the last one. And then we do a podcast right here on 30 NSG as well, called Generation X Gaming on Thursday night. So lots of content. We do uploads. We do breakout videos. We do live streams. All right. You can say what you want about Todd Howard, but he's a gamer. He loves games. Yeah. Yeah, but the criteria for a lot of stuff now, Eclipse, is that you don't need to play, right? Oh, the funny part is Mo this weekend talked about Strauss-Zelnick, right? Strauss-Zelnick. He's like, Strauss-Zelnick is not a gamer. He's never played games. And I'm like, yeah, but Strauss-Zelnick was a businessman. And then look what he turned 2K into, right? Which is microtransactions galore. Waterbear showed me a video of his daughter playing NBA 2K, and a fucking commercial popped up in the middle of the game, right? That is Strauss-Zelnick. Strauss-Zelnick is a businessman saying, how do we milk everything dry from this possible? That's what he does as a businessman in Take-Two. He's making money for him, right? Now, Asha might come in. She's a businesswoman now, let's say. All right, well, what is she going to do? Zelnick brought microtransactions and commercials to all the games, right? He's the one that didn't make Grand Theft Auto 6 in the last 13 years because he was like, no, we're making plenty of money offline right now. We don't need another game. How do we milk the player base as much as we can before we go on to the next thing? It's what it is. So sure, you don't need to be a gamer, but this is exactly why 2K games are hated by a lot of people because they're monetization. Sure, they like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, but they don't like the microtransactions, the shark cards, and the commercials inside the NBA 2K games. So we'll see. We'll see what Asha has to bring to the table to Microsoft. All right, let's see what else is going on. Anything else they're talking about? Oh, you know what I downloaded, guys? I haven't played it yet. I downloaded it yesterday. I'm going to go back in and check out Star Wars Galaxies. I made my character, or not my character, I made my profile. I downloaded the client yesterday. I might play it this afternoon a little bit just to go back in and see how it is. I don't think I'm going to put in like hundreds of hours into it, but I'm going back in to get that nostalgia feeling of Star Wars. Jesse Mack says, 30 off topic, Marvel news. Marvel confirms that Tom Holland, Peter Parker, no longer part of Disney's MCU. Huh? What? How does that even work? My brain's kind of thinking here. Is that a Sony's decision, or is that the new CEO of Disney's decision? Interesting. Considering Spider-Man brought in more money for Disney than Disney's own movies is interesting. So I wonder if it's a Sony thing. Don't just do the main story. They're still working on a complete rework. Inside of Galaxies? Or you talk about the Old Republic, Z? I'm confused. Yeah, because the clip says, so the new movie, not part of the timeline or after that? Because we all watched Spider-Man 3, right? We saw what happened at the end of that. We saw that he moved to the city, and this is a continuation of that. So if this is a continuation of that, then he's part of the MCU. Right? Like, you can't just hand wave and say he's not part of it. If Tom Holland is Spider-Man, then he's part of the MCU. It does. If afterwards, sure. If he wants to stop playing the character, and then a new person gets casted, then sure. Like, he's 100% part of the MCU. Jesse Mack says Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures have quietly confirmed that Peter Parker is no more. What does that mean? Hold on a second. Do we? Where is this? I need to read. Is there an article? Two days ago. Inside the Magic. Marvel confirms that Tom Holland, Peter Parker, no longer part of Disney's MCU. How does this even work? Right? How does this even work? Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures have quietly confirmed. Well, it's not quietly. Obviously, it's not quietly. Oh my God, with all these advertisements. Peter Parker is no more. And how did he get here? Okay, the journey of Marvel's Phase 6 and Avengers Doomsday. Nearly 2 decades after Iron Man kicked off the Hollywood's most ambitious franchise, Marvel Studios is making moves to suggest the MCU, as fans have known it is about to look very different. With the Phase 5 complete and loaded Phase 6 underway, the studio appears to be betting big on the creative reset rather than a slow evolution. Phase 5 limped into the finish line in some respects. Captain America Brave New World crossed $400 million globally despite a rocky production, cloud of off-screen controversy, and made profitability of uphill battle. It didn't make profit. Thunderbolts 2025 closed out the phase, and while it assembles film crew under a radar for months, it received positive reviews, though it underperformed at the box office, right? It lost money. Still, a broader Phase 5 picture was also seen. Deadpool and Wolverine delivered one of the MCU's biggest ever blockbusters, biggest ever box office, hauls of strength of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds combined the power. While 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp completely bombed. Let me just skip that. Phase 4 wasn't without any complications either. Launching into a pandemic-disrupted world, and Phase produced genuine phenomenon in Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021, which grossed $1.953 billion worldwide, introduced Disney Plus, the storytelling platform with the series WandaVision. That also propelled Infinity Saga, peak Avengers, and Endgame in 2019. Phase 6, though, is a different story. It opened up at the Fantastic Four's first steps, arriving July 2025 under direction. That also lost money, by the way. Let's see here. Okay, we can skip that. Okay, we can skip that. We can skip that. I want to know. Yeah, no. Okay, there is, however, one notable absent. Tom Holland, Peter Parker, is not expected to appear in Doomsday, which will mark the first time since Holland took the role as Spider-Man has sat out of the Avengers-level event. The reason, according to insider Jeff Snyder, is logistical narrative. Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures' Spider-Man Brand New Day will take place at the same time on the MCU timeline as Avengers Doomsday. This marks the first time in MCU history that events in 2 movies have occurred concurrently. Holland is also currently deep into production on Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. A schedule factor, the direct noted, would also keep multiple other MCU stars out of Doomsday. Holland himself addressed the CinemaCon 2025 attendees via video message saying that, Variety, I am so sorry I can't be with you. I'm halfway around the world shooting a movie. I know we left a massive cliffhanger on the end of the way of No Way Home. So Spider-Man, Brand New Day is a fresh start. It is exactly that. That's all I can say. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Just because he's not in Doomsday doesn't mean Peter Parker doesn't exist inside of the world, the universe. Right? We knew he came back. He didn't die in Endgame. He had another movie. He finished. He still lives in Manhattan. right? He still exists inside the narrative. They're just not going to show him. Doesn't mean he doesn't exist inside the MCU. Someone just read the article title. Yeah, Doomsday doesn't even have a prayer to make money. No, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like Avatar, Sarge. It needs to make like $1.5 billion, if not more, just to make it back. Yeah, it's weird to say that he doesn't exist. He's just not in the movie. But he's not in the movie because he's shooting another movie during the same time they're shooting Doomsday. If they really wanted to, they could do reshoots with him and bring him in for 5 seconds. They could also completely CGI the motherfucker inside the actual movie if they wanted to. He literally doesn't even have to be in the movie. They could literally come in for 3 seconds and go, "Where's Spider-Man?" Oh, Peter, is safe. Whatever. To just say he's no longer part of Disney's MCU, that doesn't make any sense. Logistically, behind the scenes, it does make sense. Sony probably doesn't want to do that anymore. Well, which is dumb on Sony's part, to be honest with you. The only thing that Sony made money from was Spider-Man. Venom did good. All the rest were fucking just bombs. They wanted to go more into that avenue of more characters in the in the Spider-Verse. But everything else pretty much bombed for them. And the reason that Spider-Man got more action than would have been normal, obviously it went over $1 billion, is because he was attached to the MCU, right? A lot of people went to go see Multiverse of Madness and then the last Spider-Man film because they thought it was going to be connected more than it was. About Spider-Man, No Way Home, Doctor Strange made a spell. The whole world forgot Peter Parker, but the whole world still knows Spider-Man. Correct. I understand that. But from a logistic standpoint, the reason he's not in Doomsday, right? Peter Parker still exists. Peter Parker's still in the MCU. They just forget Peter Parker's Spider-Man. That's the spell. Peter Parker exists because when he introduces himself, "Hey, I'm Peter," he still exists. Peter Parker still exists. It's just that everyone that knew Spider-Man, that knew was Peter Parker, now forgot who Spider-Man still exists. Peter Parker still exists. They just don't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That's it. It's like a paper trail. They got rid of the paper trail so he can stay safe. Even though technically, I mean, if Tony Stark could figure it out, then obviously Doctor Doom can figure it out. But what do I know? But what do I know? All right. That is going to do it for me. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? I've said this in the past. My favorite Spider-Man is that I think Tobey Maguire was a good Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man of both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, right? I loved Andrew Garfield when he was Spider-Man and the quippies that he used to do. Like it reminded me of Spider-Man, right? Where Tom Holland felt like the part, right? Felt like the part, like he felt like Spider-Man, but he also felt like that awkwardness of Peter as well. So technically, I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I like Tobey as Peter, but Tom Holland did a better job overall as the character. Yeah, I thought he was great. Garfield didn't look like Peter to me. Like, that's not what I pictured Peter. You know what I mean? Come on, Drummond. I would have to, to answer your question, I'm not going to go with the comics. I'm just going to go with, I think Tom Holland's costume and stuff is my favorite still. Overall, I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man overall. Yeah, I just like I even like just the setting of it. Although Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock with Tobey Maguire, that's a great film. I like that one a lot. Yeah, no, I didn't like him as Nathan Drake. I thought that was terrible, Nathan Drake. I thought you could like move Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake, right? He shouldn't have been Sully. Well, Zendaya's not MJ. She is a MJ, but she's not the MJ. So she's not Mary Jane. Yeah, she's a MJ, but she's not the MJ. I kind of like what the hell's her name in Garfield's film? I can't think of her name now. What the hell's her name? She was in Zombieland and a whole bunch of other shit. I can't think of her name right now. Emma Stone. Thank you. I liked her as MJ. Yeah. Eclipse says, yeah, from the 4K YouTube thing you showed, I learned that Spider-Man 2 was the only movie actually shot in 4K, which is cool. Yeah, that video is actually crazy. Because what have I said in the past, Eclipse, that the 4K that they do is bullshit and you should get Blu-ray? And this is why they're getting rid of the stuff like that? It was an art back then to make the videos and movies. Oh, she's Gwen. That's right. She is Gwen. You are correct, Titan. Well, then I guess there's only one MJ then, huh? Well, she was my favorite one. She fit that character. Because Zendaya's not MJ. So that means the question is, who's your favorite MJ would be the first one then. Because she's the only one. Is it Kirsten Dunst or Kristen Dunst? I thought it was Kirsten. Is it Kristen? Why would they cast Zendaya as MJ? To subvert your expectations. I was just asking questions, Travis. I was just asking, is it Kirsten or Kristen? I'm not saying if you're right or wrong. I was asking. I was like, I think I've heard it both ways. Yeah, I didn't like her casting. I mean, it was okay back then. But as you simmer through it and watch it over the years, I'm like, I don't really like her. Kristen. Oh, did you guys see, real quick before we go, did you guys see that USA beat Canada? Not just the men's team, but the Canadian women's team lost both to U.S. So the women's USA and the men's USA team both won gold medals. So then I went down like a rabbit hole, and I was like, holy Christ. I was like, when's the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup? And I was shocked. I was like, it's been that long. There hasn't been a Canadian Stanley Cup winner in NHL since 1993. Right? That's crazy. Now, obviously, Canada teams still outnumber all the rest of the teams in the NHL league for championships, right? Because the Montreal Canadiens have like 24, and I believe the Maple Leafs have, I think, was 13. So between them, they have 37 Stanley Cups for Canada, and yet the rest of the teams are not even close. The closest one is the Detroit Red Wings, which were 11 Stanley Cups, which is too shy of the Maple Leafs, which is another 11 short. So I thought that was crazy. Right, Tarnish. That's right. I forgot that Emma Stone played Gwen. I thought they all played MJ, but that's why I was like, wait a minute, because Zendaya not MJ. She's MJ, but she's not the real MJ. And then Kirsten was the only MJ. So the question that would be, who's your favorite MJ? Would be, well, she's the only one. So.
Suck it, Canada, and we are better at your sport.
Yeah. If I just read that normally, Aku, it wouldn't come across funny, right? It'd be like, suck it, Canada. We're better at sports. But because it's Trump, it just comes across better. Yeah, I like her. I just don't. When she came out, I was like, oh, her name's MJ, but her name's not actually Mary Jane. You know what I mean? Yeah, America. Pone says basketball is technically a Canada sport. Is it? You guys don't have that many. I mean, you had the Toronto Raptors at one point. I don't even know. I don't follow basketball much anymore, so I don't even know. Do you guys still have a basketball team over there? No, I'm not buying it day one, Travis. I'm not buying it day one. I did enjoy myself this weekend when I played it. Me and Sarge played it quite a bit. Played it for like 3.5 hours. I think I have like 5-6 hours total. I deleted it off my computer because I'm done playing the demo, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. Putting a ball in a hoop is technically goes back thousands of years. Don't know if Canada made that, bud. I'm not sure. Let's look it up. Let's learn, right? Let's see. It was the Mayan Indians. I do remember that. The Mayas actually threw a ball through a hoop that was on the side of the wall, not in a basket. So here you go. Basketball began its invention in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts, by a Canadian. So it was made by a Canadian, but in the United States. Physical education instructor James Naismith has a less injured-prone sport than football. At 31 years old, he graduated student, went to create into an indoor sport to keep athletes indoors during the winter. They came between an establishment fairly quickly and grew very popular as a 20th century progression. I remember they had a basket, right? Think about this, right? They took the ball and they threw it into the basket. And every time they scored, they had to get a ladder and put it out and then climb up the ladder and then take the ball out of the hoop. It took them so long to figure out, cut the fucking bottom out of the basket. Think about that for a second. Think about that. Like, what are we talking about? After basketball became established in American colleges and a professional game followed, the American National Basketball League, established in 1946, grew to a multi-billion-dollar enterprise at the end of the century. Let's see. A ball thrown into a direction with one both hands. Did they show? Street court versus 9. Use a soccer ball. And 2 peach baskets. There was 18 players on the court originally. Okay. There were a difference between Naismith's first idea and the game played today. The peach baskets were closed, and the balls had to be retrieved manually until a small hole was put in the bottom of the peach basket to poke the balls out of using a stick. Only in 1906. Okay, stop it. 1891 to 1906, there was no hole in the basket. And then when they decided to make a hole in the basket, they made a small enough hole to poke a stick through instead of just cutting the basket. What are we talking about? This is what I'm talking about. Super smart but stupid people. Guy was brilliant enough to make a game, indoor sport, but stupid enough not to cut a hole in a basket. For God's sakes. Jesus. Only in 1906 were metal hoops, nets, and backboards introduced. In 1894, the soccer ball was replaced by a ball Naismith contacted as spattling to make. They're like, hey, I got an idea. How do we get the ball? Well, we don't have to use a ladder anymore. Let's just cut a small hole and then poke it with a stick. Yeah, it's genius. That's fantastic. Why don't we do that? That sounds great. What are we talking about, Chad? How do you stare? Aku says this was just a Canadian. Just saying. How do you stare at a thing? Go, yeah, you created basketball? Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's a good sport. Hey, why do you guys keep using a ladder? You guys should cut a hole in the bottom of the thing. Oh, that's a genius idea. Hey, Timmy, can you cut a hole just big enough for a stick to get poked through the bottom so you get the ball out? Oh, yeah, Mr. Nesmith. Yeah, I'll do that. It's good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And the guy's like, no, like the actual, like just remove the bottom of the basket. No, just big enough to poke a stick through. Chop Eric says they needed the basket for the harvest after still. You're telling me they use the same basket? Come on. They still use the basket in the spring and the summer? So you're telling me nobody came up with the idea. Nobody. From 1892. I'm sorry, 1891 to 1906. You're playing Hightail again? Or playing other game tonight? No, we're playing Hightail. Last night I went around and explored, got a whole bunch of resources, and I found a couple things that we're going to do tonight. Bowling balls were used instead. That's probably what they started with. Turners. They're like, boom. Oh, it's not bouncing. What else could we use? Fucking ridiculous. I'm surprised it was called basketball, not soccer basket. I'm not surprised if they see 30 today. No, I didn't build anything. I didn't build anything. I literally went out and harvested cobalt, therium, skins. I went across the entire. I just ran across the map and started killing things and got stuff. Yeah. Hey, resources were scarce. So they took every basket, established across the entire college league, and they're like, hey, we need 2 extra baskets. Can you get the ones from the gym? Sure thing. Sure thing, Mr. Nesmith. I'm pretty sure they weren't getting peaches after that, but hey, that's just what my thought process is. All right, guys, I'm done for the this afternoon. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for some gaming over on 30 and Still Gaming. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you very much, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Yeah. There's a difference. Not all money is the same. Listen up. Hey, yo, a customer is earned. That's respect on the line. They don't drop a single dollar till your product is refined. Checking quality, value, the service, the vibe. If you treat them like it matter, they'll stay with you for the ride. But a consumer, man, they buying on impulse. No standards, no questions. They don't care what the bill does. Bad game, bad merch, wrong size, doesn't matter. They keep paying every time like their wallets on auto scatter. Whoa. Customer, consumer, tell me who you trying to move, bro. One pays cause they see your worth, the other pays for anything on earth. Customer, consumer, 2 different lanes, 2 different futures. One you earn, one just sooner. Yeah, there's levels to the user. A customer's money got a heartbeat, facts. It's the paycheck that they grind for, breaking they back. So if they choose you, man, you better give it right back. With loyalty, quality, value intact. But a consumer, they swipe without thinking. It could break in 2 seconds, they'll still cop without blinking. They follow hype trends, whatever's in season. No logic, no filter, and barely a reason. Whoa. Customer, consumer, tell me who you trying to move, bro. One pays cause they see your worth, the other pays for anything on earth. Customer, consumer, 2 different lanes, 2 different futures. One you earn, one just sooner. Yeah, there's levels to the user. If you building something real, you better act like it. You want customers, then show them where your craft's sitting. Cause a consumer's just a coin toss transaction, but a customer that's trust, loyalty, interaction. So who you hustle for? Who you really trying to reach? The one to hold you accountable, or the one who don't care what you preach? Customers build your kingdom, that's word to the wise. Consumers light it up quick, then vanish in a disguise. Customer, consumer, one believes, one's a rumor. One invests in the work you do, one buys anything just cause it's new. Customer, consumer, 2 paths, choose your future. One is earned, one buys sooner. There's a difference, don't confuse them. Yeah, know who you're selling to, it changes everything. Yeah.